Chapter 2809. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang decided to wait on the spot. They wanted to wait for the Skybright Saint's men to leave before entering the ruins. However, a month had passed and the Skybright Saint's men did not show any signs of leaving. Saint Qingxiang, what are the cultivation levels of the guards? Lu Ming asked. Some of them are very strong. They are outer sect elders. Some are in the 3rd level of the heavenly god realm, and 2 of them are in the 4th level. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Oh. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and said, Saint Qingxiang, can you help me lure them away? I'll enter the cave quietly. It's not a problem to lure them away, but the Skybright Saint might be in the cave. There might be other experts inside. I'm afraid it'll be dangerous if you go in. Ouyang Qingxiang said. I won't act rashly. I'll go in quietly and hide. I won't expose myself if I'm not confident. Lu Ming said. All right, let's do that. Ouyang Qingxiang was a decisive person. She nodded and the 2 of them approached the cave. The cave was huge and dark. They could not see what was inside. There were a dozen people outside the cave. They looked listless. There were no other living beings in the cave. They were guarding the cave just in case. Whoosh! At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang rushed out. Who's there? Immediately, an old man shouted. It's the Saint Qingxiang. She wants to enter the ruins. Stop her. The gatekeepers roared and attacked Ouyang Qingxiang one after another. Half of them were in the heavenly god realm. There were also 2 in the 4th level of the heavenly god realm. They were very strong. However, Ouyang Qingxiang was the Saint Qingxiang. She controlled Saint Divine Power and was very strong. She easily blocked their attacks. Go and report to the Saint that Ouyang Qingxiang is here. I'll go. Suddenly, an old man rushed into the cave and disappeared. The others focused on dealing with Ouyang Qingxiang. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming moved quickly along the ground. He used the obstacles on the ground to hide himself. The other party did not notice him. Lu Ming successfully rushed into the cave. The cave was pitch black. It was unfathomably deep. Lu Ming slowly slid down along one side of the wall. After sliding down for tens of thousands of meters, they finally reached the bottom of the cave. There was a tunnel at the bottom of the cave. It was a few thousand meters tall, and the walls were inlaid with luminous stones that emitted a faint glow. Lu Ming dashed into the passageway and kept moving forward. Someone's here. Suddenly, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he hurriedly hid in a groove on the wall. The walls of the passageway were uneven. Some places were protruding while others were concave. It was very easy to hide. After they hid well, a few figures flashed through the tunnel. Lu Ming could clearly see that it was a group of old men. They should have gone to help deal with Ouyang Qingxiang. They were in a hurry and didn't notice Lu Ming. After the few elders left, Lu Ming continued to head toward the passageway. Not long after, Lu Ming passed through the passageway and arrived at a huge underground space. That is, when Lu Ming arrived, he was stunned. The underground space was very vast. At the front, there was a huge stone staircase that was tens of thousands of meters tall. At the top of the staircase was a palace that looked like the legendary Dragon Palace. At the bottom of the staircase, there were a few figures standing. Lu Ming immediately saw that one of them was the Great Hong Saint. There were also 2 other people. They were 2 old men. The 2 of you, go out together and take down that bitch Ouyang Qingxiang. The Great Hong Saint's cold voice rang out. But Saint, once we go out, you will be the only one left here. One of the old men said hesitantly. It's fine. I'm about to climb the sacred dragon staircase. On the sacred dragon staircase, no matter who it is, they will be under terrifying pressure. They will also be protected. No one can harm me if they come in. Put it down. The great Hong Saint waved his hand. All right, then we'll go out. The two old men nodded, and with a flash of their figures, they rushed outside. The great Hong Saint looked at the staircase with a fiery glow in his eyes. I don't believe that I can't climb it. I can definitely do it. The great Hong Saint growled. His body swelled up and transformed into the form of a dragon human. Golden divine power emanated from his body as he stepped onto the staircase. Bam! When the great Hong Saint stepped onto the staircase, there was a loud boom. It was as if a mountain had crashed onto the ground. The Tian Hong Saint landed steadily on the first step. Then, he stepped forward and stepped onto the second step. With every step he took, the staircase would rumble. It was as if every step he took was extremely heavy. There is indeed a strong pressure on the staircase. Lu Ming pondered. He took a look and understood what was going on. He had encountered this type of test many times. The great Sky Hong Sage's speed was very fast at the start. Before long, he had crossed half the distance and his speed started to slow down. Clearly, the further he went, the greater the pressure he was under. Roar! A dragon's roar came from the great Hong Saint's body. The golden dragon scales on his body shone even more brightly. He looked determined as he slowly climbed step by step. Unfortunately, after a while, the great Hong Saint's body seemed to have stopped moving. I don't believe it. I don't believe that I can't go up. My dragon blood, boil for me. The great Hong Saint roared. The surface of his body was suffused with a blood-red glow. A six-clawed divine dragon appeared above his head. He even used the divine dragon Dharma body. As a result, the great Hong Saint was able to continue climbing. Unfortunately, when he was 2/3 of the way up the staircase, he stopped completely. He could not take another step. Damn it! Why? Could it be that my divine dragon bloodline is not rich enough? Why? The great Hong Saint roared. He was extremely indignant. Is there the complete divine dragon Dharma body technique up there? Lu Ming guessed. Since the great Hong Saint wanted to climb the staircase so badly, there was a high possibility that the complete divine dragon Dharma body technique was up there. Closer. Lu Ming followed the obstacles at the side and slowly approached the staircase. He was getting closer and closer to the palace above the staircase. At this moment, Lu Ming actually felt that his blood was slowly boiling. At the same time, there was a thirst. Yes, it was a thirst. It was a feeling that appeared automatically in his blood. It was as if there was something on the staircase that deeply attracted Lu Ming. I must go to the top of the palace. Lu Ming muttered. His gaze was resolute. He had made up his mind. There was a strong pressure on the staircase. The others seemed unable to go up. The great Hong Saint also did not have the strength to attack. Lu Ming was not afraid. Chapter 28:10. Lu Ming made up his mind. He wanted to go up. Lu Ming was a decisive person. Since he had made up his mind, he would not hesitate. He had no time to hesitate. If Ouyang Qingxiang could not hold the Skybright Saint's men back, he would be in trouble when the experts returned. Swoosh! Lu Ming did not hesitate any longer. He rushed out and headed for the stairs. The moment Lu Ming rushed out, the Skybright Saint noticed Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you. The Skybright Saint roared, his killing intent exploding. However, he was on the stairs. He could not kill Lu Ming even if he wanted to. Bam! Lu Ming landed heavily on the first step of the stairs. There was a loud boom. Immediately, Lu Ming sensed a powerful force coming from above the stairs. It was as though the mountains and seas were overturning. It was pressing toward Lu Ming, wanting to blast him out of the stairs. Humph, you want to climb the Saint Dragon stairs without the divine dragon bloodline? You are daydreaming, the Skybright Saint sneered and took a few steps down. He was waiting for Lu Ming to be blasted off the Saint Dragon stairs. Then, he would kill Lu Ming. This time, he wanted Lu Ming to die a horrible death. However, in the next moment, his body stiffened. Lu Ming was not blasted off the stairs as he had expected. Instead, he was standing steadily on the stairs. You have the divine dragon bloodline? The Skybright Saint asked in a gloomy voice. In this world, the dragon human tribe is not the only one with the divine dragon bloodline. Lu Ming smiled faintly. It turned out that only those with the divine dragon bloodline could climb the stairs. If one did not have the divine dragon bloodline, they would be blasted off the stairs by the power of the stairs. When Lu Ming stepped on the stairs, he was almost blasted off. At the critical moment, the 9 dragons' blood essence in his blood boiled, allowing him to stand on the stairs. Humph, so what if you have the divine dragon bloodline? Can you climb up? If you can't climb up, you'll die when you're exhausted. The Tianhong Saint said coldly. Then, he strode down the stairs. As he walked back, he was very relaxed. Soon, the Tianhong Saint reached the first step and came to Lu Ming's side. However, there was a force guarding the steps, so he could not attack Lu Ming. Glancing at Lu Ming with murderous intent, the Heavenly Hong Saint stepped out of the staircase and landed outside, guarding it. He was waiting for Lu Ming to be exhausted and fall down. Then, he could make a move to kill Lu Ming. You can just wait patiently. Lu Ming smiled contemptuously, then turned around and strode up the stairs. Bang! 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 With every step he took, the stairs would rumble. Lu Ming's speed was very fast. Very soon, he had taken a few hundred steps. He was even faster than the Tianhong Saint. This kid. How is he so fast? The Tianhong Saint's face was ghastly. The pressure is getting stronger, and the difficulty is getting higher. This kid definitely can't go up. He definitely can't. The Tianhong Saint roared in his heart. He was a supreme talent of the dragon human race. The divine dragon bloodline in his body was very thick, comparable to the 6-clawed divine dragon. He did not believe that Lu Ming, a human, could have a thicker divine dragon bloodline than him. However, reality slapped him in the face. Lu Ming's speed did not slow down at all. Soon, he was halfway up the stairs. Then, he was halfway up the stairs. This was already the Tianhong Saint's limit. However, Lu Ming had reached this point in one breath. At this point, Lu Ming's speed slowed down. The pressure here was already very shocking. The blood in Lu Ming's body was circulating rapidly as if it was going to burn. Roar! A dragon's roar came from the blood. A lifelike 9 dragons shuttled back and forth in the blood. There was a layer of blood mist on the surface of Lu Ming's body. Then, the blood mist gathered in the air to form 9 dragons that roared into the sky. 9-clawed dragon. This is a 9-clawed dragon, the Tianhong Saint roared in disbelief. He was so shocked that he almost jumped up. He would never have dreamed that Lu Ming's body actually contained the highest grade 9-clawed dragon bloodline among the divine dragons. No wonder this kid can walk so fast. It turns out that his body contains the 9-clawed dragon bloodline. If I can take the 9-clawed dragon bloodline from his body and use it for my own use, my talents will increase many times over. At this thought, the Tianhong Saint's eyes were filled with greed. The 9 dragons appeared, and the pressure on Lu Ming lessened. His speed increased again. Soon, Lu Ming was only 100 steps away from the end of the stairs. However, the pressure on the last 100 steps was also the most terrifying. Lu Ming's body trembled with every step he took. Divine Dragon Aspect Art. Lu Ming roared and activated the Divine Dragon Aspect Art. An 8-clawed Divine Dragon appeared above his head. The 8-clawed Divine Dragon roared and pounced forward to help Lu Ming break through the pressure on the stairs. Instantly, the pressure was lifted again, and Lu Ming quickly ascended. Divine Dragon Aspect Art, damn it! At the sight of Lu Ming using the Divine Dragon Aspect technique, the Heavenly Hong Saint gritted his teeth. He was both shocked and jealous. How long had it been? Lu Ming had mastered the Divine Dragon Aspect Art and even cultivated an 8-clawed Divine Dragon. He had been cultivating the Divine Dragon Aspect Art for tens of thousands of years, but he had only cultivated a 6-clawed Divine Dragon Aspect Art. This made him even more greedy for Lu Ming's 9 dragons bloodline. Bam! Bam! The rumbling of the stairs continued. Lu Ming was getting closer and closer to the top of the stairs. As for the Tianhong Saint, his face darkened. With the last rumbling sound, Lu Ming successfully stepped onto the platform above the stairs. At the top of the stairs was a majestic palace. The doors of the palace were open, and he could not see what was inside. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Without hesitation, he strode forward and walked through the doors. After stepping through the doors, the light suddenly brightened. Lu Ming could clearly see the situation behind the doors. Behind the doors was a spacious hall. There was nothing else in the hall. It was empty. Lu Ming looked around but did not discover anything. However, the center of the hall attracted Lu Ming's attention. In the middle of the hall, there was a 1-meter-tall stone pillar. Above the stone pillar, a scroll was suspended, emitting a gentle light. Strangely, there was a small divine dragon outside the scroll. It was formed by energy and flew around the scroll. Could it be the complete Divine Dragon Aspect Art? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he stepped forward. Lad, there is a defensive array on the scroll. Gu Mo reminded him. There is a defensive array? How do I break it? Lu Ming asked. It's very simple. You have the blood essence of the 9-clawed dragon in your body. You just need to drip a drop of blood on the scroll and you will be able to break the array on it. Gu Mo said. That's easy. Lu Ming immediately forced out a drop of blood and dripped it onto the scroll. Chapter 28:11. When Lu Ming's blood dripped onto the scroll, a dragon's roar came from the scroll. Then, the scroll emitted a dazzling light. After a long while, the light disappeared. Below the stairs, the Tianhong Saint's son was extremely anxious. Suddenly, he heard the dragon's roar and the light emitted from the scroll. The Tianhong Saint's son became even more anxious. Damn it! Could that brat have already obtained the complete Divine Dragon Aspect Art? The Tianhong Saint's son thought anxiously. Then, he moved and rushed up the stairs. However, the strong pressure on the stairs made him stop very quickly. He could only retreat unwillingly. Humph, I'll wait here. Lu Ming, even if you have the complete Divine Dragon Aspect Art, you're just paving the way for me. Huh, that's good too. It saves me a lot of trouble. The Tianhong Saint's son sneered. Thinking of this, his mood became better. In the hall, when the light on the scroll disappeared, Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the scroll. There was nothing strange. Lu Ming opened the scroll expectantly. There were many small words on the scroll, densely packed. Lu Ming looked at it carefully. After a long while, Lu Ming put down the scroll. The complete Divine Dragon Aspect Art. It's really the complete Divine Dragon Aspect Art. Lu Ming's face was filled with ecstasy. This scroll indeed recorded the complete Divine Dragon Transcendence Art. It was incomparably mysterious, much more so than the incomplete Divine Dragon Transcendence Art. If he could cultivate it to greater mastery, its power would definitely be shocking. It could become Lu Ming's trump card, even surpassing the ice shackles. How should I go down? After putting away the scroll, Lu Ming started thinking. The Tianhong Saint's son must be guarding below the stairs. If he went down the stairs, the Tianhong Saint's son would definitely not let him go. Forget it. I'll wait for a while. If there's really no other way, I'll just cultivate here for a while. I wonder how Holy Lady Qingxiang is doing. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind, and then he started to wander around the palace. There were other doors around the palace, and Lu Ming walked around but didn't find anything. Following this, Lu Ming walked towards the innermost door. Behind the innermost door was a long corridor. After passing through the corridor, a beam of light suddenly shot down from above. Lu Ming looked up and found that it was a door of light. The light came from the door of light. Could this be a teleportation gate? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. This is a teleportation gate. It should be a back path that leads to the outside world. Bone's voice rang out. Huh, the heavens are really helping me. Tianhong, just wait patiently. Lu Ming laughed and then soared into the sky, rushing towards the door of light. Lu Ming's figure disappeared into the light gate. In the next moment, Lu Ming appeared in a canyon. I'm out, I'm really out. I'll go find Holy Lady Qingxiang now. Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and left the place. This canyon wasn't far from the entrance. Soon, Lu Ming heard a violent explosion coming from the front. Ouyang Qingxiang was fighting fiercely with a group of experts. There were more than 10 old men, all of them in the heavenly god realm. Among them, there were even 1 or 2 in the heavenly god realm. There were also a few in the heavenly god realm. Facing so many experts, Ouyang Qingxiang mainly focused on defense. She wasn't at a disadvantage at all. Lu Ming flew over and shouted from a distance, Holy Lady Qingxiang, let's go. Seeing Lu Ming suddenly appear from behind, Ouyang Qingxiang was obviously stunned. She was very surprised. Lu Ming had clearly entered the cave from the entrance. Why did he suddenly run to the back? However, she didn't think too much about it and began to attack. Green Lotus Sword Song. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted and waved her long sword. Green lotuses appeared in the air, each of them bursting with terrifying sword chi, forcing the old men to retreat. Ouyang Qingxiang took the opportunity to break out of the encirclement and flew towards Lu Ming. Should we chase after them? An old man asked. Ouyang Qingxiang is too strong. Even if we catch up with them, we can't do anything to her. Our duty is to guard this place and report this situation to the saint. Another old man said. All right. The others nodded. They didn't know that Lu Ming had sneaked in and even obtained the complete divine dragon aspect art that the great Sky Hong Saint yearned for. If they knew, they wouldn't have let Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang leave so easily. An old man rushed into the cave to report to the great Sky Hong Saint. Ouyang Qingxiang had already come to Lu Ming's side. Let's go back to the Kongxian school. Lu Ming said. Ouyang Qingxiang didn't ask any more questions. She soared into the sky with Lu Ming, took out the space battleship, and left the Dragon Head Star. The great Sky Hong Saint was still guarding at the bottom of the stairs. Kid, let's see how long you can stay here. The great Sky Hong Saint snorted. His eyes were filled with killing intent and fire. After a while, an old man rushed in hurriedly. How is it? How's that bitch Ouyang Qingxiang? The great Sky Hong Saint asked. She's gone. She left. The old man replied. She left? You guys are really useless. If I wasn't here, I would have suppressed her personally. The great Sky Hong Saint snorted. The old man's face turned ugly. Is it just Ouyang Qingxiang alone? Is there anyone else? The great Sky Hong Saint asked. Yes, there's someone else. It's Lu Ming. He left with Saint Qingxiang, the old man said. However, before the old man could finish, the great Sky Hong Saint shouted in disbelief. What? What did you say? You said it's Lu Ming? The great Sky Hong Saint jumped up and stared at the old man as though he was going to eat him alive. The old man was shocked. He didn't understand why the great Sky Hong Saint had such a huge reaction when he heard Lu Ming's name. He was confused. Did you see clearly? Is that really Lu Ming and not someone else? The great Sky Hong Saint asked with his eyes wide open. There's no mistake. It's definitely Lu Ming. The old man said firmly. Damn it, damn it. There's still a path up there. Damn it. Chase, chase, the great Sky Hong Saint roared. He turned into a beam of light and chased after them. After reaching the outside of the cave, the great Sky Hong Saint led his subordinates and chased in the direction of the Kongxian school. However, it was too late. Lu Ming and the rest were already far away. In the space battleship. Lu Ming, have you obtained the complete divine dragon aspect technique? Ouyang Qingxiang asked curiously. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. He didn't hide anything and told Ouyang Qingxiang what happened in the cave. This time, I have to thank Saint Qingxiang for her help. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for me to get it. If Saint Qingxiang needs help in the future, feel free to ask. Lu Ming won't refuse. Lu Ming said. You're welcome. However, I'm afraid the great Sky Hong Saint will know about it soon and will come after us. He's bent on getting the complete version of the divine dragon aspect technique. Now that you have it, I'm afraid he'll go crazy. We have to hurry back to the Kongxian school and make preparations. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming nodded. Chapter 28:12. After more than a month of traveling, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang finally returned to the Kongxian school. After returning to the Kongxian school, Lu Ming immediately brought in Hai, Lu Chang, and Xiaofan to Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. Autumn Moon is still in the Divine Vein Tower. I hope she won't come out during this time. Lu Ming pondered. However, Lu Ming was very low-key when he brought Autumn Moon to the Kongxian school. Not many people knew that Autumn Moon was related to him, so she should be fine. After Ouyang Qingxiang returned to her residence, she gathered many experts belonging to her faction and stationed them at her mountain. Not long after Lu Ming's group returned, the Sky-Bright Saint Sun also returned. The moment he returned, he rushed to Lu Ming's residence. When he didn't find Lu Ming, he went to Hai's residence. The residence of Lu Chang and the others was also empty. Humph, you must be hiding at that bitch Ouyang Qingxiang's place. Don't think you'll be fine hiding there. If you don't hand over the divine dragon aspect technique, I'll kill you even if you hide to the ends of the earth. The Sky-Bright Saint Sun roared in anger. Then, he gathered a large number of experts and charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. What is the Sky-Bright Saint Sun planning to do by gathering so many experts? Something big must have happened. He's heading toward Saint Qingxiang's residence. Does he want to start a war with her? Quick, inform the Saint Sun. The Sky-Bright Saint Sun gathered so many experts and charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. Naturally, he couldn't hide it from others. The other Saint Sun factions quickly found out, and many people rushed toward Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. At Ouyang Qingxiang's residence, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were discussing something. They're here. An old woman suddenly spoke and looked outside. This old woman was an inner elder belonging to Ouyang Qingxiang's faction. Her strength was extremely shocking. They're really fast. Let's go out and welcome them. Ouyang Qingxiang sneered. They walked out of the courtyard and stood in the air. Rumble. In the distance, there was a rumbling explosion. Then, a terrifying wave of divine power surged toward them like a powerful army. However, there were many experts gathered at Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. Their auras surged into the sky like smoke, defeating the surging waves of divine power. A black mass of people appeared on the horizon. There were at least 1,000 of them. The person in the lead was the Tianhong Saint. The Tianhong Saint brought his people and stopped 1,000 miles away. Lu. The Tianhong Saint's son's gaze landed on Lu Ming. It was filled with murderous intent and greed. Tianhong, what are you trying to do by bringing so many people here in such an aggressive manner? Ouyang Qingxiang knew the answer. What? It's very simple. Hand Lu Ming over to me. I'll leave with him immediately. The Tianhong Saint said. Saint's son. It's ridiculous. Lu Ming is also a saint. Not everyone can take him away as they wish. Ouyang Qingxiang sneered. Today, I must take Lu Ming away. Whoever stops me will be my enemy. I will not hesitate to fight. The saint's son said coldly. Lu Ming had not only taken away the complete divine dragon aspect art, but he also had the 9-clawed dragon bloodline. To the saint's son, Lu Ming was a huge treasure trove. As long as he could obtain Lu Ming's 9-clawed dragon bloodline and the complete divine dragon aspect art, his combat strength would definitely rise to an astonishing level. He could even surpass the Paragon Saint and become the first saint of the Kongxian school. In that case, the position of the future sect master of the Kongxian school would be in his bag. At the thought of this, his heart was burning with passion. He must get Lu Ming. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Ouyang Qingxiang was extremely domineering. Good, very good. In that case, I'll break into your sect today. Attack and take down Lu Ming. The saint's son roared. Boom. 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 The experts of the Tenho Seiko faction and Ouyang Qingxiang's factions erupted with terrifying auras. They clashed in the void, causing shockwaves to fill the sky. There were many inner elders among them, and they were all peak heavenly gods. At this moment, their auras clashed and shook the heavens and earth. Then, a few figures soared into the sky. In an instant, they had rushed out of the atmosphere and started fighting in the starry sky. Peak heavenly gods were too terrifying. If they were to fight in the atmosphere, the destruction to the earth would be unimaginable. Kill. The strongest people fought outside the starry sky. The saint's son and the others charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming. Attack. Ouyang Qingxiang and the others did not retreat and charged forward. Ouyang Qingxiang once again clashed with the great Sky Hong Saint. Take down Lu Ming. Take him down. Several heavenly gods rushed toward Lu Ming. Fortunately, there were experts on Ouyang Qingxiang's side who stayed by Lu Ming's side and blocked the other party's attack. Thousands of experts from both sides fought fiercely. This area was already surrounded by people. Even the saint Sun Ji Xia and Saintess Xiaofan came personally. What happened? Why did the saint's son bring people to fight with Ouyang Qingxiang? Saint Sun Ji Xia asked, full of doubts. I don't know, but it must be something big. Otherwise, the saint's son wouldn't be so crazy. He wants to take down Lu Ming. I guess Lu Ming has offended him again. Saintess Xiaofan said. However, they would not go out to stop it. They could not wait for the saint's son and Ouyang Qingxiang to fight. It would be best if both sides were injured. Then, their competition would be smaller. The battle was getting more and more intense. Some people even died. Boom! At this moment, a huge hand suddenly appeared in the starry sky. This gigantic hand was boundlessly huge, and it pressed down on the inner court elders who were in the midst of a fierce battle. Deity King, the inner elders screamed in horror. Then, they were pressed down by the huge hand. They were blasted into the atmosphere like meteorites and fell to the ground. Then, a figure suddenly appeared in the sky, exuding a terrifying and boundless pressure. It pressed down on the Saint Sun and Ouyang Qingxiang's factions. The people of the two factions were directly imprisoned in the air by this force, unable to move. Kid, the Deity King has appeared. I have to hide. Gu Mo's voice sounded, then entered Jing Yu's portrait and disappeared. The Deity King, what a terrifying pressure. Lu Ming looked at the figure in the sky, full of shock. At this moment, his body could not move at all under the pressure of that pressure. Not to mention him, even the high-level heavenly gods could not move at all. It's the Deputy Hall Master of the Tribunal Council. Someone exclaimed. The Saint Sun, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others' eyes turned serious. Obviously, their battle had alarmed the Tribunal Council. Even the Deputy Hall Master of the Tribunal Council, who was a Deity King, had personally come. As saints and saintesses, you actually led your fellow disciples to kill each other. What a scandal! The Deputy Hall Master of the Tribunal Council said sternly. Chapter 28:13. Deputy Hall Master, it's Tianhong. He suddenly sent people to attack me, so I could only retaliate with my men. Ouyang Qingxiang was the first to speak. Bullshit. You teamed up with Lu Ming and snatched my treasure. It's only right that I take Lu Ming away and take back my treasure. The Tianhong Saint roared. What a joke. What treasure? You're really shameless. That's a secret art in a relic. As long as you haven't obtained the item in the relic, everyone who saw it has a share. You can't get it because you're trash. Now that I have it, I have to give it to you. Lu Ming's voice was filled with mockery. I've discovered that relic long ago. The Tianhong Saint roared, releasing an extremely cold murderous intent. He looked at Lu Ming ferociously, wishing he could cut Lu Ming into pieces. Ha ha ha, what a joke. What's even more ridiculous is that you're a saint. How could you say such ridiculous things? According to your logic, as long as I explore all the relic and discover it, it's mine and no one else is allowed to enter? Is that possible? I'm really doubtful. How did you become a saint with such a brain? How could so many people submit to you? Hey, those of you who have submitted to the Tianhong Saint, think carefully. What's the point of following such a person? Why don't you all submit to me? Lu Ming laughed. What did you say? Piece of shit, I'm going to kill you. The Tianhong Saint was furious. His eyes were burning with rage. He wished he could rush up and kill Lu Ming. Unfortunately, he couldn't move under the pressure of the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall. Alright, no matter what grudges you have, you'll be severely punished for killing your fellow disciples in the sect. The Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall's voice was filled with majesty and sternness. Many people shuddered in fear. The Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall was famous for his strictness. Even the Tianhong Saint felt a chill in his heart and suppressed his anger. Tianhong, you started the fight. You are in the wrong. I will give you 3 days to hand over 200,000 points. Then, you will face the wall for 20 years. Do you accept that? After the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall said this, he looked at the Great Sky Hong Sage coldly. The Great Sky Sage was unconvinced. However, how could he dare say no now? Yes. The Tianhong Saint lowered his head. The murderous intent in his heart had already reached its peak. Lu Ming, if I don't kill you, I swear I'm not human. The 9-clawed dragon bloodline and the mystical dragon aspect art are all mine. The Tianhong Saint roared in his heart. Qingxiang, since you're only defending passively and it's not your fault, I'll punish you to face the wall for 10 years. Do you accept? The Vice Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall looked at Ouyang Qingxiang. This disciple is sincerely convinced. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded. All right, now, let's disperse. The Vice Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall waved his hand and the pressure disappeared without a trace. Go! The Tianhong Saint bellowed and left dejectedly with his men. It's over just like that. Saint Ji Xia and Saint Xiaofan were slightly disappointed and left as well. Saint Qingxiang, it's Lu Ming who has implicated you. Lu Ming looked at Ouyang Qingxiang apologetically. It was all because of Lu Ming that Ouyang Qingxiang was punished. Moreover, people from her faction had died and many were injured. Lu Ming felt a little apologetic. It's all right. It's just 10 years of facing the wall. It'll pass in the blink of an eye. I can use this time to hone my mental state. However, the Tianhong Saint has also been punished. He won't dare to do anything in the sect for the time being. However, once you're out of the sect, you still have to be careful. Tianhong won't let this go, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming nodded. Not long after, Lu Ming bade farewell to Ouyang Qingxiang and returned to his residence. The following days were indeed peaceful. The Tianhong Saint did not send anyone to deal with Lu Ming. I still have to raise my strength as soon as possible. Now that Little Ball has broken through to the 8th level of the True God realm, it'll be a great help to me. It'll be great if Little Ball can break through to the Heavenly God realm. I'll go exchange for more fragments of divine artifacts for Little Ball to eat. Lu Ming pondered and then sorted out all the storage rings on his body. During this time, he had killed many strong enemies and obtained many storage rings. The number of treasures and divine crystals he had sorted out was astonishing. Lu Ming exchanged most of these treasures and divine crystals for points. He then used his points to exchange for a large number of fragments of divine artifacts. The lowest grade was a fragment of a medial level 9 divine artifact. There were even some fragments of superior divine artifacts. Even though it was a fragment of a superior grade divine weapon, the price was astonishingly high. In that case, Lu Ming did not have many points left. After returning to his residence, Lu Ming gave all the fragments of divine artifacts to Little Ball for him to eat slowly. As for himself, he began to comprehend the complete divine dragon aspect art. The complete divine dragon aspect art was much more difficult to cultivate. The time required was also much longer. However, Lu Ming only used half a year to successfully cultivate the complete divine dragon aspect art. Roar! A dragon's roar rang out. A divine dragon condensed above his head. This divine dragon had 9 claws and was very similar to the 9 dragons. 9-clawed dragon. Lu Ming had finally cultivated the 9-clawed dragon aspect. As long as Lu Ming willed it, the 9-clawed dragon aspect would pounce out to attack the enemy. Its power was astonishing. Of course, the divine dragon aspect art was far from complete. As Lu Ming's comprehension deepened, he could cultivate a second, third, and even more divine dragon aspects in the future. In the following days, Lu Ming cultivated in peace. He took turns to cultivate various divine skills and secret techniques. A few decades was too short for an immortal. It passed in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, more than 20 years had passed. In these 20 years, Lu Ming entered a period of stability. He didn't improve much in all aspects. He mainly focused on stabilizing his foundation. On the other hand, Little Ball had swallowed a large number of fragments of divine artifacts. His cultivation had improved further, reaching the 9th stage True God realm. As for Autumn Moon, she had been cultivating in a secret room in the Divine Vein Pagoda for more than 20 years. Lu Ming had also gone to take a look. The secret room was emitting the aura of Autumn Moon. Everything was normal. Lu Ming had nothing to worry about. At this time, a piece of news spread like a hurricane to the Qin Tian 13 sects and some other powerful forces. On the ancient god planet, the array on the bronze door was finally broken. Some of the strongest array masters in the Qin Tian star field had finally broken the array and opened the bronze door after decades of hard work. Many people had already gone in to explore, but the results were shocking. Behind the bronze door was a world, an ancient and desolate world. Inside, there were many treasures of heaven and earth. Many of them were extinct in the outside world. Chapter 28:14. The moment this news came out, the various factions of the Qin Tian star field and countless experts began to gather on the ancient god planet. Lu Ming was focused on his seclusion, so he was unaware of this news. By the time he found out, 1 month had passed, and it was Ouyang Qingxiang who told him. On this day, Ouyang Qingxiang found Lu Ming and told Lu Ming the news. The ancient god planet's bronze gate was actually opened. Lu Ming's interest was piqued. The bronze gate had appeared in the sacred land of the ancient god descendants, so it definitely had something to do with them. Lu Ming had condensed the ancient god heart, so he was very interested in this matter. Correct. It opened a month ago. I was also in seclusion, so I only just received the news. It said that there's an ancient and desolate world inside, filled with countless natural treasures. Many experts from various factions have gone in. I came to find you because I wanted to work with you and go in together. How about it? Ouyang Qingxiang said. Okay. Lu Ming nodded without hesitation. Lu Ming led in Hai, Lu Chang, and Xiaofan, while Ouyang Qingxiang led a group of experts from her faction. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were also part of this group, and they set off for the ancient god planet. After a long journey, they came to a place not far from the bronze gate on the ancient god planet. Lu Ming was rather emotional at this second visit. So many experts. Lu Ming sensed that terrifying energies were faintly discernible around the bronze gate. Every single one of these auras was extremely powerful, giving off a pressure that was as deep as the ocean. God Kings. These energies were all at the God King realm, no less than several dozen. There were dozens of Divine King realm experts gathered near the bronze gate. Didn't they say that the majority of the experts had already entered the world behind the bronze gate? Why are there so many God King experts here? Lu Ming asked. I heard that God King experts find it very difficult to enter the bronze gate, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Yes. Oh. God Kings can't enter? Lu Ming said. It's not that we can't enter at all. It's said that there's a force on the bronze door that can stop divine kings from entering. This energy is profound and unfathomable. Even the strongest formation grandmasters of the Qin heavenly star field can't break through it. However, they managed to create a formation that can only send a dozen god kings through the bronze gate. After some discussion, we decided that the Qin heavenly 13 sects, the Ice Soul race, and the Scarlet Flame race, a total of 15 major powers, would each send a godly king. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming finally understood. As it turned out, god kings couldn't enter in large numbers. Each of the 15 strongest powers in the Qin heavenly star field sent a god king in. As for those below the godly king realm, they could enter and leave as they pleased. Lu Ming felt a little helpless. He had originally thought that after most people entered the bronze door, he could take the opportunity to get Qiuqiu to bite the bronze door. Now, it looked like this idea wouldn't work. With so many godly king experts guarding the door, how could he get Qiuqiu to bite the bronze door? If he really did that, Qiuqiu would immediately be taken away by those experts to be studied. It's said that the world behind the bronze door is vast and boundless. However, there's also a terrifying danger inside. There's a kind of evil creature that looks like both demons and demons. They're known as demons. Now, every power has built a city inside as their base. God kings are guarding the city to guard against the demons. Ouyang Qingxiang explained. They flew towards the bronze door as they flew. No one stopped them. In fact, anyone below the godly king realm wouldn't be stopped if they wanted to enter. Even those from smaller powers wouldn't be stopped if they wanted to. However, without a godly king, it was extremely dangerous for a power that had built a city as their base to enter. There was a high chance that they would die in the hands of the demons. The giant bronze door was open, and it was pitch black inside. Let's go. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Everyone flew towards the bronze door. Apart from them, there were many other people from other powers who flew into the door with them. After a moment of dizziness, Lu Ming realized that they had appeared on a huge platform. Lu Ming raised his head and saw a huge whirlpool in the sky above his head. This whirlpool was the entrance and exit. Lu Ming saw many people who were covered in blood flying into the sky and disappearing into the whirlpool. They should have left this place. These people should be from smaller powers. They didn't build a base here and didn't have a godly king to guard them. They didn't have a place to recuperate after fighting with the demons, so they could only leave this place. Ouyang Qingxiang explained. Lu Ming nodded. Those who went out should be from smaller powers. For example, the Qin Tian 13 sects, the Ice Soul race, and the Scarlet Flame race all had their own bases. If they were injured, they could recuperate in their bases. There was no need for them to go out. People from the immeasurable sacred ground, come to me. I'll bring you to the base. People from the Winged Devil Academy, come to me. I'll bring you to the base. People from the Kongxian school, come to me. I'll bring you to the base. Voices sounded around the platform. It turned out that there were people from various major powers around the platform. Those from smaller powers could only look on enviously. Those are the people from the Kongxian school. Let's go over. Ouyang Qingxiang and the others walked in a certain direction. There were many experts from the Kongxian school there. So it's Saintess Qingxiang, Saintess Lu Ming. Follow me. An old man, an inner elder of the Kongxian school, recognized Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang at a glance. The crowd followed the inner sect elder and flew away. But at this moment, something strange happened. Rumble. The whirlpool in the sky shook violently and let out a deafening roar. What's going on? Why is the spatial gate shaking all of a sudden? Many people's faces changed drastically. But then, the whirlpool shook even more violently. Boom! Boom! Then, a terrifying explosion occurred. The whirlpool began to collapse. Yes, it began to collapse. A terrifying force spread out and wreaked havoc in all directions. Not good. Leave quickly. Retreat quickly. Many people shouted and flew away from the platform. Lu Ming and the others also flew far away. When they were far enough away, they looked back and were completely dumbfounded. The whirlpool was gone. Yes, that whirlpool had already disappeared without a trace. The spatial path is gone. It's over. Are we going to be trapped here forever? What's going on? Does anyone know what's going on? The scene was in an uproar. Many people shouted in horror. Without the spatial path, they would be trapped here forever. Chapter 28:15. The faces of Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the rest darkened. Huoran. 1. Ra. N. Com. They were too unlucky. They had just entered and the space passage had already collapsed. If it had collapsed earlier, they wouldn't have been able to enter. Everyone, don't panic. There are many godly kings and array masters guarding outside. They will definitely find a way to reopen the space passage. Someone, an old man, shouted. Some of the old men who had lived for countless years and experienced great storms quickly calmed down. Many people calmed down after hearing that. Indeed, there were many godly kings and array masters outside. They would definitely not let so many people be trapped here. They would definitely find a way to reopen the space passage. Saintess Qingxiang, chosen one Lu Ming, now that the space passage has collapsed, it's useless to stay here. Why don't we go to the base first? I have to report the situation here to the godly kings in the base. The inner sect elder said. All right. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang nodded. Since they were already here, they might as well take things as they came. Since the spatial gate had temporarily collapsed, they could only cultivate in this world for a period of time. The people from the other sects and forces had similar thoughts. They left some people to guard the place while the others flew to their bases. When the space passage collapsed, the ancient god planet's bronze gate underwent a major change. The originally open bronze door suddenly emitted a resplendent radiance and slowly closed on its own. Not good. What's going on? Stop it. There were at least several dozen god kings in the surroundings of the bronze gate. They were all shocked at this moment, and they all struck out with terrifying energy at the bronze gate in an attempt to stop it from closing. However, it was useless. The bronze gate continued to close at a constant speed. Clang! In the end, the bronze gate closed completely. Master, what's going on? A godly king from the Mystic Academy looked at an array master with a gloomy face. The array master frowned and thought carefully. After a while, he shook his head and said, "Strange, strange. I don't know what's going on either." You don't know what's going on. The expressions of the other god kings changed. There were many people from the major forces who had entered the Bronze Gate, including some of the top geniuses. If these people couldn't come out, it would be a fatal loss for the major forces. The only thing we can do now is to continue our research and find a way to open the door again. Another array master said helplessly. Then I'll have to trouble you. A god king expert said. After a while, one of the formation grandmasters said with a serious expression, "This formation has become even stronger after it was closed. I'm afraid it will take a long time to open it." How much time do you need? Someone asked. It could be as short as a few decades, or as long as a few centuries. A formation master said. A few hundred years? That's good. Then I'll have to trouble the masters to crack it. The various deity kings nodded. Indeed, it would take a few hundred years to open. The situation was not that bad. At that moment, Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others followed the inner sect elder of the Kongxian school and flew for a while before a huge city appeared in front of them. The city was built between two large canyons. It was a natural stronghold and was incomparably majestic. This was the new base that the Kongxian school had built recently. The people of the Kongxian school who had entered this world were all gathered in this base. The crowd flew in and saw that there were many stone houses in the city. Find an empty space and build your own stone houses. Also, you're free to enter and leave the city. No one restricts you. However, the demons outside are very strange and powerful. You have to be careful when you go out on an adventure. The inner sect elder reminded them. After that, the inner sect elder flew away. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others looked around and then flew toward an empty space. This city was very large, and there were also large expanses of empty land. Lu Ming. Suddenly, a roar filled with cold murderous intent was heard. At the side, a group of figures flew out from a stone house and blocked Lu Ming's path. Tianhong. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. The leader was the Tianhong saint. The Tianhong saint looked at Lu Ming with a ferocious gaze and sneered. You're also in the ancient god world. Good, very good. Let's see who can protect you here. Tianhong, don't flatter yourself. If you want to fight, we're not afraid of you. Ouyang Qingxiang sneered. Oh, what if you include me? A cold voice came from behind. Then, another group of figures flew over. Floating light. Ouyang Qingxiang's expression changed. The group that came behind was Fuko Seiko and his subordinates. They surrounded the back of Lu Ming and the rest. Floating light, when did you team up with Tianhong? Ouyang Qingxiang asked coldly. It's not really a team-up, but Lu Ming has killed many of my men. I just happen to want to settle this score with him. Fuko Seiko sneered and emitted a cold murderous intent. The Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko's factions surrounded Lu Ming's group. The cold murderous intent made many people's expressions change. However, Ouyang Qingxiang remained calm because she knew the rules. Do you dare to fight here? From what I know, the deity king has ordered that fighting is prohibited in this city to prevent the demons from taking advantage of the situation. Do you dare to go against the deity king's order? Ouyang Qingxiang sneered. The Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko's faces darkened. The deity king guarding this city had indeed given this order. And they did not dare to go against it. Humph, so what? Once you leave this city, no one will care about you. Unless you stay in this city forever and don't go out. The Tianhong Saint sneered. That's right. I will send people to keep an eye on you. Since you came here, you can hide in this city forever. The Lonely Light Saint also sneered. Ouyang Qingxiang's face darkened. Since they came to this world, they had to go out and take risks to obtain treasures. Otherwise, why would they come here? Instead of hiding in this city, they might as well stay in the Kongxian school and cultivate. Seeing Ouyang Qingxiang's ugly expression, the Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko smiled happily. Saint Qingxiang, let's go. We can't be bothered with a few mad dogs. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke calmly and stepped forward. What did you say? The Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko's faces turned red. Good dogs don't block the way. Lu Ming looked at the Tianhong Saint with disdain. The Tianhong Saint was furious and almost vomited blood. He wanted to slap Lu Ming to death. Chapter 28:16. But in the end, the Tianhong Saint held himself back and did not dare to make a move. Renina Kam, the Divine King's orders could not be disobeyed, even if he was the saint. Lu Ming, you'd better not leave this city. Otherwise, I'll let you die a horrible death. The Tianhong Saint left these words with a ferocious expression. Then, he turned and left with his men. Fuko Seiko snorted and left with her men. Of course, they had left people behind to monitor Lu Ming and the others from afar. If Lu Ming and the others left the city, they would launch a thunderous attack. As for Lu Ming and the others, they came to the open space and started building stone houses. With their cultivation, it was too easy for them to build stone houses. In just a few minutes, huge stone houses rose from the ground. For the next few days, they stayed here and did not leave the city. This was because Fuko Seiko had sent people to keep an eye on the Tianhong Saint. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed, and the situation was still the same. Fragrant Saintess, you all can leave the city first. I will stay here alone. Lu Ming said. Shall we leave the city first? Ouyang Qingxiang's expression changed. That's right. Tianhong, the person floating light wants is me. If I'm not around, they won't do anything to you guys. You guys leave the city first. It'll be easier for me to act alone. I'll also think of a way to leave the city. Lu Ming said. During this period of time, they discovered that many people who had left the city and returned had made great gains. The number of natural treasures here was truly astonishing. This world was like the ancient world when the universe first opened. There were all kinds of natural treasures that no one could exploit. It was extremely rich. Staying in the city and not going out was really not worth it. Then you have to be careful. Ouyang Qingxiang pondered for a moment and nodded. That was the only thing they could do now. Afterward, Ouyang Qingxiang led the people from her faction, Anhai, Lu Chang, and Xiaofan, and left the city, disappearing into the vast earth. Saint Child, Ouyang Qingxiang's group has left the city, but Lu Ming hasn't. He is still in the city. Once Ouyang Qingxiang left, someone reported to the Great Hong Saint. During this time, the Tianhong Saint had not left the city and had been guarding it. Lu Ming didn't leave. The heavenly Hong Saint's eyes flashed coldly. Saint, what should we do now? Someone asked. Dealing with Lu Ming alone is simple. Leave a few experts behind to keep an eye on Lu Ming. As soon as he leaves the city, kill him without mercy. The Tianhong Saint said coldly. After that, he left behind a few experts to keep an eye on Lu Ming while he led his men out of the city. If he stayed in the city every day, he wouldn't be able to obtain anything. He couldn't afford to waste time. Therefore, since there was only Lu Ming, there was no need for him to personally guard this place. If Lu Ming continued to stay in the city without moving, he could not afford to waste time. On the other hand, after Fuko Seiko received the news, he had the same plan as the Tianhong Saint. He left behind a few experts to keep an eye on Lu Ming while he led his men out of the city. After Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest left, Lu Ming leisurely cultivated in the city. Just a little more. Lu Ming muttered. His 9 heavens Kunpeng technique was about to break through to the 5th level. As long as he broke through to the 5th level, he would be able to shake off those who were watching him and leave the city. Tianhong, floating light, Lu Ming, will make you regret this sooner or later. A cold light flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. He then returned to the stone house to continue cultivating. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Success. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. After a few months of cultivation, Lu Ming's 9 heavens Kunpeng technique had finally reached the 5th level. His speed had increased greatly. It's time to leave. Lu Ming moved and left the stone house, flying towards the city gate. Lu Ming is leaving. Follow him. When he leaves the city, we'll kill him. When Lu Ming moved, the Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko's men immediately received the news. Cold murderous intent flashed in their eyes as they followed Lu Ming from afar. When he arrived at the city gate, Lu Ming did not hesitate and rushed out of the gate. He then executed the 9 heavens Kunpeng technique and rushed towards the vast forest ahead. What a dense divine aura! What an ancient aura! As soon as he rushed into the forest, an ancient aura rushed towards him. Moreover, the trees in the forest were exceptionally tall. Giant trees with diameters of tens of meters, a few hundred meters, and a few thousand meters tall could be seen everywhere. It gave one a feeling that they had returned to the ancient times. Chase. The experts left behind by the Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko were all middle-aged burly men or white-haired old men. All of them were heavenly god realm experts with great strength. As soon as they rushed out of the city gate, they quickly chased after Lu Ming. A few old fellows, a ray of cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes as he increased his speed. He was like a Kunpeng, flying across the sky at an astonishing speed. However, those who chased after him were all heavenly god realm experts. There were even second-level heavenly gods whose cultivation was much higher than Lu Ming's. Their speed was too fast and the distance between them and Lu Ming was constantly shrinking. Lu Ming, you can't escape. Prepare to die. An old man shouted coldly. Is that so? Lu Ming sneered. However, he had no intention of stopping to fight with the other party. The experts left behind by the Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko were all astonishingly strong. None of them were weaker than Lu Feiyun. Some of them were even stronger than Lu Feiyun. Even if Qiuqiu had broken through to the 9th level of True God Realm, they would still die if they stopped to fight. Lu Ming's palm glowed and a black jade talisman appeared in his hand. He squeezed it hard and the jade talisman exploded. A wave of energy wrapped around Lu Ming. A strange scene appeared. Lu Ming's body actually split into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8. In the end, there were a total of 32 figures. The 32 figures of Lu Ming had the exact same aura. They flew in different directions rapidly. This was Lu Ming's trump card. That jade talisman was a type of jade talisman that Lu Ming had refined after consulting Guemo. It was very effective in escaping at critical moments. However, the materials to refine this kind of jade talisman were too difficult to find. Lu Ming had searched the Kongxian school and only found the materials to refine one piece. The 32 figures appeared all of a sudden. Moreover, their aura was exactly the same. Those who were chasing after Lu Ming were instantly dumbfounded. This, what's going on? Damn it! Split up and chase! Someone roared. They had no choice but to split up and chase. However, in the end, they realized that what they were chasing was fake. After some time, they turned into energy and dissipated. As for Lu Ming's real body, it was unknown where it had gone. Damn it! The Tianhong Saint, Fuko Seiko, and the people left behind gathered together again. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Continue searching. I don't believe that he can escape to the sky. An old man roared and planned to continue searching. They had so many experts, but they had let Lu Ming escape under their noses. If the two saints asked about it, it would be difficult to explain. Chapter 28:17. Lu Ming shook off his pursuers and went deep into the forest. R-A-N-E Na Ko M. This world is really strange. After shaking off those pursuers, Lu Ming slowed down and looked around. This world was full of vitality. Ancient trees towered into the sky, and all kinds of plants were lush and full of powerful spirituality. Any one of these plants would be an emperor medicine in the primordial realm of the heaven realm, but they were not useful to Lu Ming. Lu Ming spread out his spirit sense. He was looking for those precious treasures. That's Dragon Ginseng. After walking for a while, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a dragon beard ginseng, but this pillar dragon beard ginseng was too big, which shocked him. As the name suggested, the ordinary dragon ginseng was as thin as a dragon's beard. It was a rare divine medicine that could be refined into a divine pill that could increase the cultivation of a heavenly god. It was very precious. However, the dragon ginseng in front of him was as thick as Lu Ming's arm, which was dozens of times thicker than the ordinary dragon ginseng. Such a big dragon ginseng, haha. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Kid, this divine medicine contains rich chaos qi. It's not easy to refine it. In his sea of consciousness, the voice of the quantifying formula sounded. Chaos qi? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right. This world is extremely ancient and has yet to be developed. That's why there's desolation qi. These divine herbs all contain desolation qi. It's difficult for ordinary people to refine them. Only by refining the desolation qi can one absorb the energy within the divine herbs. The quantifying formula explained. Lu Ming nodded. It seemed that although the divine medicine here was very strong, it was still difficult to refine it directly. The best choice was to take it out and refine it into a divine pill for an alchemist. But you have me, so you don't have to worry about that. Give me the dragon ginseng and I can help you refine it into pure energy for you to absorb. The quantifying formula said proudly. Hey, you absorbed so much energy from the ancient god flower last time. You said that you would refine it and pass it to me. It's been dozens of years and you still haven't refined it? Lu Ming asked. What do you know? How could it be easy to refine the energy of so many ancient god flowers? But don't worry, it won't take long. In a few months at most, I'll be able to completely refine it. At that time, your cultivation will be able to take another step forward. The quantifying formula began to shout. Really? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Nonsense, of course it's true. Why would I lie? The quantifying character formula shouted. Ha ha ha, good, good, this dragon ginseng is yours. Lu Ming smiled. After that, a quantity character emerged from between Lu Ming's eyebrows. A devouring force appeared and enveloped the dragon ginseng. The dragon ginseng transformed into a beam of light and flew into the quantity character. After that, the quantity character returned to hiding in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. Lu Ming continued to move forward. Next, Lu Ming encountered a few more heavenly treasures. They were all rare divine herbs with amazing medicinal efficacy. If he took them out, he would definitely be able to sell them at a good price. No wonder so many people poured into this world. Lu Ming, who was moving forward, suddenly stopped and frowned. A long spear appeared in his hand. Because at this moment, he suddenly felt a sense of crisis. Swoosh! All of a sudden, a terrifying whistling sound could be heard from the right side. An extremely sharp force tore toward Lu Ming. Buzz! Without thinking, Lu Ming swept his spear to the right. Clang! Lu Ming's long spear seemed to have swept against a metal. Then, Lu Ming saw a black shadow being sent flying. Bang! The black shadow slammed heavily into an ancient tree with a diameter of several tens of meters, causing the ancient tree to explode. Demon, after seeing the appearance of the black shadow, Lu Ming's eyes flickered slightly. The one that attacked him was a wolf. This wolf was more than 3 meters tall and was completely black. It was no different from a typical demonic beast or desolate beast. However, this wolf did not have any demonic aura. Instead, it emitted a strong demonic aura. Its eyes were blood-red and filled with killing intent. A demonic wolf contains a strong demonic aura. No wonder it is called a demon. Lu Ming was amazed. It looked like a demon but not a demon. It looked like a demon but not a demon. It was a demon. Roar! The wolf-shaped demon roared and its killing intent became stronger. It stared at Lu Ming. Roar! Roar! Then, the roars continued. In the forest, black shadows flashed. At least dozens of wolf-shaped demons appeared on the branches of the surrounding ancient trees. They stared at Lu Ming with killing intent. Why am I so unlucky? Lu Ming was speechless. It seemed like he had encountered a wolf's den. Roar! Roar! With a roar, dozens of wolf-shaped demons turned into rays of black light and rushed towards Lu Ming. Chi-chi! The wolf-shaped demons clawed out with their sharp claws and let out a terrifying howl. Their sharp claws were like knives as they clawed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spear shook and rays of spear radiance burst out. Suddenly, there was the sound of metal clashing. Dozens of wolf-shaped demons were sent flying by him. This demon has such a strong attack power. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Although he did not take the strength of these demons seriously, their attack power still surprised Lu Ming. The demonic aura of these demons had a strong destructive power. Between a demon of the same level and a martial artist of the outside world, the strength of these demons was definitely stronger. After the dozens of demons were sent flying, they did not retreat. Instead, they roared and rushed towards Lu Ming. I'll send you all to hell. Lu Ming released his killing intent and increased his strength. Swoosh! Swoosh! Instantly, dozens of even sharper spear auras burst forth, piercing through the necks of these demons, killing them instantly. After killing these fiendish demons, Lu Ming left the place immediately. A few days later, Lu Ming walked out of the forest and came to an even more vast mountain range. In this mountain range, he would encounter demons from time to time. These demons looked no different from the demonic beasts and desolate beasts he had encountered before. However, their bodies were filled with a terrifying demonic aura and each of them had a terrifying combat strength. However, correspondingly, there were more heaven and earth treasures in this mountain range. Other than divine herbs, there were also many refining materials and even some precious metals. Most of those precious metals had entered Qiuqiu's stomach and were eaten by Qiuqiu. As for the divine herbs, most of them had been swallowed by the quantifying character formula. Lu Ming was speechless. Most of the divine herbs and metals he obtained had entered the quantifying character formula and Qiuqiu's stomachs. Very little entered his pockets. Lu Ming only hoped that these two fellows could bring him a surprise. Just like that, Lu Ming trained and fought in this desolate mountain range for a few months. As he ventured deeper, the demons he encountered became stronger and stronger. He frequently encountered demons at the peak of the 8th and 9th level of the true God realm. He even occasionally encountered demons at the heavenly God realm. Once he encountered a heavenly God realm demon, Lu Ming would take a detour. Even with Qiuqiu's help, he did not have much confidence in dealing with heavenly God realm demons. Chapter 28:18. On this day, Lu Ming came to the vicinity of a huge mountain. Qiuqiu was excited when he arrived, his big mouth opened and closed, his eyes glowing as he stared at a cave at the foot of the mountain. Calm. Qiuqiu, is there a treasure in this cave? Lu Ming's heart stirred and he asked. That's right. I can feel that there is a type of metal in this cave, a very precious metal. If I eat it, I will definitely evolve and reach the heavenly God realm. Qiuqiu replied with his mind power. Reach the heavenly God realm? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Given Qiuqiu's strength, if it could reach the heavenly God realm, its combat strength would definitely be terrifying and it would be a great help to him. If he were to encounter the Sky Hong Saint again, Fuko Seiko's subordinates would not be afraid. Kid, I can sense that there are many powerful demons living in this cave. Gu Mo's voice was heard. Senior Bone Devil, can you sense the approximate cultivation level of the fiendish demon in this cave? Lu Ming asked. The strongest one is a level 1 heavenly god. There's only one. The rest are all below the heavenly god realm. Gu Mo said. There's only one level 1 heavenly god realm demon. Let's do it. Lu Ming was determined. Qiuqiu, get ready for battle. Lu Ming said to Qiuqiu. Then, he started to activate the battle formula. After more than 20 years of cultivation, Lu Ming's understanding of the battle formula had deepened. The success rate of quadrupling his combat strength had also increased significantly. He would succeed once in a dozen tries. After more than a dozen tries, Lu Ming successfully quadrupled his combat strength and raised his condition to the maximum. He then carefully approached the cave. Whoosh! When Lu Ming neared the cave, a red ray of light suddenly shot out from the cave and pierced the area between Lu Ming's eyebrows. Before it reached him, a fishy smell had already hit him in the face. A tongue. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He could clearly see that the red ray of light was an animal's tongue. Wang! Lu Ming shook his long spear and viciously lashed out at the tongue. However, the spear did not hit the tongue at all. The tongue was soft and the force of the spear was negated instantly. It turned around and pierced towards Lu Ming again. Humph, a petty trick. Lu Ming's gaze turned cold as he put away his spear. His palm was covered with divine power as he grabbed the scarlet tongue. Then, his extreme cold divine power erupted and surged into the tongue. In an instant, the tongue was frozen into a popsicle. Lu Ming flung his arm and the popsicle shattered into dozens of pieces. Lu Ming muttered. The huge creature that rushed out was a huge toad. It was pitch black and was similarly filled with dense demonic qi. It stared at Lu Ming with resentment. This toad had a cultivation of level 9 true god realm. Croak. Following that, croaking sounds came from the cave, and black figures jumped out one after another. All of them were toads, and in just a few breaths, more than a dozen toads jumped out. All of them were at the 8th and 9th level of true god realm. Kill! Lu Ming charged over. This time, he did not take out his spear. Instead, he took out a battle sword. Moon slaying. Lu Ming used moon slaying to slash at a toad. Croak. The toad cried and opened its mouth. Rays of pitch-black light burst out like blades and slashed towards Lu Ming. Clang! Clang! The battle sword collided with these rays of light and there was a violent explosion. What a strong strength! Lu Ming's eyes were also somewhat solemn. This level 9 true god toad was shockingly strong. Its combat power was not weaker than Long Xian, who was ranked 6th on the true god ranking list. However, Lu Ming's current strength also increased a notch compared to when he fought with Long Xian. Moon slaying. Lu Ming urged the apocalyptic 3 strikes to the extreme. The crescent-shaped sword light slashed out continuously. At the same time, Lu Ming displayed ice chains. 9 ice chains flew out and wrapped around that toad. Puff! The sword light slashed past. Lu Ming cut this toad in half. On the other side, Xiaofan showed his invincible might. When it was at level 8 true god realm, its strength was already very shocking and could crush Lu Ming. Now that it broke through to level 9 true god realm, its strength was even stronger. Its 2 arms turned into 2 battle blades, slashing out continuously. Puff! Puff! Every time he slashed out, a toad would be killed. Lu Ming only killed 1, but Xiaofan killed 6. When Lu Ming killed the second toad, the other toads were already killed by Xiaofan. Impressive! Lu Ming looked at Xiaofan with a smile. He could not help but look forward to how strong Xiaofan's combat power would be after breaking through to Celestial God Realm. Figures flashing, Lu Ming and Xiaofan rushed into the cave. The cave was very large and had many different passageways. This way, Xiaofan took the lead and flew toward a passageway. Lu Ming followed closely behind. Along the way, toads would jump out from time to time. However, they were all killed by Xiaofan's blade. Very soon, Lu Ming they advanced for several hundred miles, detouring around many winding passageways. Finally, they came to a huge underground cave. This underground cavern was fiery red because the surrounding walls were inlaid with fiery red gems that emitted a red glow. At the top of the cave, there was a piece of crimson metal. It was the size of a human head and was embedded in the wall. It emitted powerful energy waves. It's that piece of metal. It's that piece of metal, Xiaofan's voice rang out in Lu Ming's mind. Then, it opened its mouth and pounced at the piece of metal. Gua gua! At this moment, several loud cries rang out, shaking the underground cave. A black shadow pounced at Xiaofan with extreme speed. Xiaofan, be careful! Lu Ming shouted a warning. At the same time, he charged toward the black shadow. Swoosh! A crimson tongue lashed at Xiaofan like a soft whip. Xiaofan was not prepared and was hit directly. Bam! Xiaofan was sent flying like a cannonball. It crashed into the wall and smashed a large hole in it. Moon slashing. Lu Ming had already arrived. He executed moon slashing and slashed at the crimson tongue. However, the tongue flicked and a terrifying force exploded. Lu Ming's body shuddered and he could not help but fly backward. What a powerful force! Lu Ming's eyes turned solemn. A huge toad appeared in front of them. This toad was 2 to 3 times bigger than the ones they had encountered before. It was emitting a strong demonic aura with a shocking aura. Heavenly God Realm. This toad had the cultivation of the Heavenly God Realm. It should be the first layer Heavenly God that Guo had sensed. Chapter 28:19. Bam! Rubble flew from the side as Qiuqiu flew back to Lu Ming's side. It shook its body a little, but it was fine. Croak, croak, the Heavenly God Realm toad stared at Lu Ming and Qiuqiu with a ferocious look in its eyes. Then, with a spring of its legs, its huge body pounced towards Lu Ming and Qiuqiu at an astonishing speed. It opened its mouth and its scarlet tongue pierced towards Lu Ming like a sharp sword light. At the same time, rays of black light shot out towards Qiuqiu. Ice chains. Facing a Heavenly God Realm toad, Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. 9 ice chains flew out and wrapped around the toad. At the same time, he activated the 9 heavens golden armor and executed the 9 heavens Garuda technique. In a flash, he charged towards the toad. A crescent-shaped sword light slashed towards the toad. However, Lu Ming still underestimated the toad. The toad's tongue was like a peerless sword. With a flick of its tongue, it struck the ice chains. The ice chains violently trembled before shattering one by one. Then, the tongue continued to attack Lu Ming. Bam! Lu Ming's battle sword slashed the toad's tongue. It was like slashing leather, unable to break through the toad's defense. A powerful force burst out from the tongue. It traveled along the battle sword and struck Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body was sent flying, crashing into the wall at the side. Puff! Lu Ming felt the blood in his body churning. He coughed out a mouthful of blood. What a powerful force! Lu Ming was shocked. The toad's strength was even stronger than Lu Feiyun's. They were both first-level heavenly gods, but Lu Feiyun's strength was definitely not the toad's match. Boom! Boom! Qiuqiu waved its 2 battle swords and clashed with the black light released by the toad. For a moment, it was blocked by the toad. Again. Lu Ming's body moved as he charged toward the toad. Endless divine power poured into Lu Ming's body from the quantifying character formula, allowing Lu Ming's divine power to remain abundant. 9 ice chains were formed once again. At the same time, a dragon's roar resounded. A huge 9-clawed dragon appeared above Lu Ming's head. For the first time, Lu Ming used the divine dragon aspect technique against his opponent. Roar! The 9-clawed dragon pounced towards the toad. 9 dragon claws stepped out one after another and turned toward the toad. Bang! Bang! The toad's tongue continuously collided with the dragon's claws. The huge body of the 9-clawed dragon trembled, but it did not shatter. He blocked it. Lu Ming was overjoyed. The power of the divine dragon aspect technique was indeed shocking, especially the 9-clawed dragon that Lu Ming formed. It was even stronger and had become Lu Ming's strongest killing move. Qiuqiu, use lightning. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Qiuqiu. He used all his means to attack the toad. Sizzle. Hit by the lightning, the toad's body stiffened and the fragrance of barbecued meat wafted out. After Qiuqiu's cultivation broke through to the 9th level true god realm, the power of the lightning had become stronger. There was no way Lu Ming would miss such an opportunity. He immediately controlled the 9 ice chains to bind the toad. A terrifying chill gushed into the toad's body, trying to seal it in ice. Roar! The nine-clawed dragon roared and stepped out with its dragon claws, turning towards the toad. At the same time, Lu Ming also slashed at the toad with his sword. Croak! 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 At the critical moment, the toad mustered all its remaining strength. A wave of black demonic chi rushed out in all directions like a shockwave. In an instant, the demonic chi bounced off the ice chains and hit Lu Ming and the nine-clawed dragon. The nine-clawed dragon aspect shook violently and emitted a dazzling radiance. Then, it began to crack inch by inch. Lu Ming was also sent flying. His 9-layer golden armor was filled with cracks. However, this was the toad's desperate move. After using it, its aura was much weaker and the demonic chi protecting its body was much thinner. Xiaofan seized the opportunity and sent another bolt of lightning down. This time, the toad was sent flying by the lightning. Its round body rolled on the ground and was charred black. Xiaofan seized the opportunity and rushed forward. With a slash, half of the toad's body was cut off. Blood flowed all over the ground. Even so, the toad was still not dead. It struggled to escape. "Don't even think about escaping," Lu Ming shouted. The 9 ice chains formed again. They were a few thousand meters long and wrapped around the toad. The toad was already heavily injured. This time, it could not break free from the ice chains. Its body was covered with a layer of ice. Xiaofan rushed forward and slashed twice, completely killing the toad. Huff! Lu Ming let out a long breath. He had finally killed the toad. The heavenly god realm toad was stronger than Lu Feiyun. It was indeed difficult to kill. Lu Ming and Xiaofan cooperated and used all their means. They had grasped the timing very well. If the timing was wrong, even if the two of them worked together, they would not be able to kill the toad. "My cultivation base is still too low," Lu Ming sighed. His various divine skills and secret techniques were very powerful. Unfortunately, his cultivation base was too low. It was difficult for him to exert too much power. In fact, the main reason was that Lu Ming's opponent was too strong. If it was someone of the same level or higher than Lu Ming could easily kill them. Lu Ming was only a 3rd-level true god. The difference between him and a heavenly god realm expert was too great. If it was another 3rd-level true god facing a heavenly god realm expert, they would probably be killed with a slap. After the toad was killed, the cave quieted down. This cave seemed to be the cave of the Toad King. The other toads did not dare to enter. Xiaofan stared at the piece of metal with fiery eyes. It rushed forward and opened its mouth to bite it. Crunch, crunch, sparks flew. The piece of metal was bitten off by Xiaofan and swallowed into its mouth. Soon, the entire piece of metal was eaten by Xiaofan. "I'm going to evolve." Xiaofan left behind a sentence and turned into a metal ball. It fell to the ground, motionless. Lu Ming sat cross-legged not far away from Xiaofan, circulating his cultivation base to heal his injuries. He was still seriously injured in the battle just now. After his injuries were healed, Lu Ming began to cultivate and wait in the cave. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Xiaofan was still evolving. Obviously, that piece of metal was not so easy to refine. "Lu Ming, the energy of the ancient god flower has finally been completely refined by this old lady. Do you need it now? If you do, I will transfer it to you immediately." The voice of the quantifying character formula sounded. "Okay, transfer it to me." Lu Ming's eyes lit up. After decades of polishing and cultivating, Lu Ming's foundation had long been incomparably stable. It was just right for him to break through now. Chapter 28-20. Be careful. The measure formula reminded Lu Ming. Then, it shone brightly. Waves of pure energy flowed into Lu Ming's body from the measure formula. Lu Ming circulated the heaven and earth 10,000 Tao Sutra with all his might to refine the energy. The energy refined by the measure formula was too pure. As long as he refined it casually, it would be completely converted into Lu Ming's divine power. The 6 divine fires in his dantian grew stronger and stronger. Originally, the 6th divine fire formed by the profound divine power was not particularly strong and had not reached the level of the other divine fires. Now, the divine fire was rapidly growing stronger and caught up with the other divine fires at an alarming speed. When the profound divine fire caught up with the other divine fires, a roar came from Lu Ming's body. The 6 divine fires burned fiercely and doubled in size in an instant. The divine power in Lu Ming's body increased rapidly. 4th level True God Realm. Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through to the 4th level True God Realm. However, it did not stop there. His cultivation was still increasing rapidly. Back then, the descendants of the ancient gods had planted too many ancient god flowers and absorbed the flesh and blood of many experts. The energy contained within was extremely strong. Back then, most of the energy had been used to form the ancient god's heart. However, the remaining energy in the measure formula was still extremely strong. Lu Ming's cultivation was rapidly charging towards the peak of the 4th level True God Realm. Soon, he reached the peak of the 4th level True God Realm and started to break through to the 5th level True God Realm. Boom! Soon after, another roar came from Lu Ming's body. He had broken through to the 5th level True God Realm. Until he broke through to the 5th level True God Realm, the energy from the measure formula was completely refined by Lu Ming. Awesome, this is too awesome. Feeling the surging divine power in his body, Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly and he was filled with confidence. Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through 2 levels consecutively, causing his strength to skyrocket. One had to know that the secret technique would improve along with the breakthrough in cultivation. Moreover, the profound divine power had also reached the level of other divine powers. Lu Ming's divine power had reached an astonishing level, far surpassing that of martial practitioners of the same level. With my current strength, even if I'm alone, I can kill that Toad King. Lu Ming muttered. He was indeed confident. With his current strength, he had no fear of ordinary first-level heavenly gods. He could kill them easily. Wang! At this moment, Xiaoqiu also emitted a powerful energy fluctuation. Xiaoqiu was also about to start evolving and break through to the celestial deity realm. Xiaoqiu's body was filled with a dazzling light. Tiny bolts of lightning covered his entire body like tiny snakes that constantly slithered about. Boom! Xiaoqiu's aura suddenly skyrocketed, as if it had broken through a limit and pierced through the clouds. A powerful aura filled the air. Heavenly God Realm, this was the pressure of a heavenly god. Xiaoqiu succeeded in breaking through to the celestial God Realm. It took a long time before Xiaoqiu's aura finally stabilized and completely concealed itself. Swoosh! Xiaoqiu rushed in front of Lu Ming and spun around, shouting, "Lu Ming, do you want to compete?" "No." Lu Ming shook his head resolutely. Xiaoqiu had reached the celestial God Realm, so his combat strength would definitely skyrocket. He had suffered a loss when he fought with Xiaoqiu the last time. Only a fool would suffer a second loss. Ha ha ha, you don't dare to compete with me anymore. Xiaoqiu was very proud. His round body spun around Lu Ming. After a long while, he turned into a bracelet and wore it on Lu Ming's hand. Then, Lu Ming followed the original path and walked out. Croak, croak, after walking for a while, a toad appeared in front of Lu Ming and stared at Lu Ming fiercely. Lu Ming could see that this toad had the cultivation of a 9th-level true god. Just nice, I'll use you to test my strength. Lu Ming muttered. Activating the battle character art, he doubled his combat strength and blasted a palm over. At the same time, the toad also launched an attack. But how strong was Lu Ming now? His palm force whistled like the sea, destroying the toad's attack as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Then, it bombarded the toad's body. In an instant, Lu Ming activated the coldest divine power. A layer of ice crystals immediately appeared on the toad's body, completely sealing the toad inside. Then, Lu Ming's palm force shook. The toad's body shattered like a piece of ice, turning into fragments. With one palm, a powerful 9th-level true god toad was insta-killed by Lu Ming. With Lu Ming's current strength, he could already be said to be invincible in the true god realm. Unless he encountered a peerless genius who also controlled divine-grade divine power and had a terrifying secret technique, otherwise, a true god realm expert would definitely be insta-killed when facing Lu Ming. Lu Ming was quite satisfied with his strength. His figure moved, and he rushed outside. Along the way, he would encounter toads from time to time. But they were all insta-killed by Lu Ming, sweeping through all along the way. Not long after, Lu Ming came out of the toad's nest. However, Lu Ming had no intention of returning to the base to recuperate. He was full of divine power and was not injured. Moreover, his strength had improved greatly. There was no need to return to the base to recuperate at all. It was best to temper himself in this savage mountain and obtain natural treasures. In the next few days, Lu Ming had been tempering himself in the savage mountain and obtained natural treasures again. However, Lu Ming did not devour all of the divine herbs for the measuring character art. Lu Ming kept some of the rare divine herbs with him. Not only were these divine herbs valuable outside, but they might be useful in the future if he kept them with him. Lu Ming, there are people approaching you rapidly. It's those people who chased after you last time. Suddenly, Gu Mo's voice sounded. These people are really haunting me. Well, this time, I'll play with you guys. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He did not leave, but stayed in place and waited. Now that his cultivation had improved greatly and Xiao had broken through to the heavenly god realm, he was very confident. Swoosh! Swoosh! In just a few breaths, there was a violent sound of something breaking through the air in the distance. 7 or 8 figures appeared and rushed toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. This kid is really here. Surround him, don't let him run away. When these people saw Lu Ming, their eyes lit up and they sped up. Their figures flashed and surrounded Lu Ming from all directions. There was a total of 8 people who were left behind by the great Hong Saint and Fuko Seiko to chase after Lu Ming. In the past few months, they had not given up and had been wandering around the nearby area. They did not expect to meet Lu Ming. The 8 of them surrounded Lu Ming. Powerful auras spread out and sealed off all directions, fearing that Lu Ming would escape again. What are you doing? All of you look ferocious. Why aren't you kowtowing to me when you see me? Lu Ming said casually. Ha ha ha. The 8 of them laughed. One of them laughed and said, Saint. You're about to die, but you still want to show off. Lu Ming, today is the day you die. My day of death? Do you think you can kill me with your repulsive skills? Lu Ming said disdainfully. Chapter 28-21. Lu Ming said disdainfully. Now that he had a rough idea of their cultivation base, he was completely at ease. These 8 people were all in the heavenly god realm. 4 first-layer heavenly gods, 3 second-layer heavenly gods, and 1 third-layer heavenly god. With Lu Ming's strength, it would be a little difficult for him to go against a second-layer heavenly god. At most, he could only protect himself. However, Lu Ming had Xiao. When Xiao was in the true god realm, he could definitely fight against some weaker heavenly gods. One should know that there was a huge gap between the true god realm and heavenly god realm. Now that Qiu had broken through to the heavenly god realm, his combat strength had increased tremendously. Killing a third-layer heavenly god was definitely not a problem for him. Therefore, Lu Ming did not put these people in his eyes. How arrogant! Then let me see if you have the right to be arrogant. A middle-aged man stepped out. His powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming like a mountain. However, Lu Ming did not move at all. Kill! The man roared. A battle axe appeared in his hand and he swung it at Lu Ming. This man was in the first-layer heavenly god realm. Although he looked down on Lu Ming, he did not underestimate him at all. He used his full strength right from the start. After all, Lu Ming and Qiu had teamed up to defeat Lu Feiyun. Although this man was slightly stronger than Lu Feiyun, it was not by much. The others did not make a move. Instead, they stood guard in all directions, afraid that Lu Ming would take the opportunity to escape. Buzz! A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. The long spear vibrated and pierced out. Third apocalyptic strike, sky-piercing. At the moment of his attack, Lu Ming activated the battle character's secret art to triple his combat strength. Clang! The long spear and the battle axe clashed head-on, resulting in a violent explosion. The ground beneath their feet exploded continuously, with cracks extending in all directions. Following that, a figure retreated rapidly. It was the middle-aged man. How is this possible? At the side, the other 7 people's hearts were beating wildly. They couldn't believe their eyes. In the head-on collision between Lu Ming and the middle-aged man, Lu Ming actually gained the upper hand. They saw very clearly that this time, Lu Ming did not rely on external forces. He relied entirely on his own strength. But Lu Ming was just a true god. How could he be so strong? How is this possible? The middle-aged man found it hard to believe and was momentarily stunned. Third strike of annihilation, moon slashing. Lu Ming let out a long howl as he charged towards the middle-aged man like a gust of wind. He executed the second move of the 3 strikes of annihilation, the moon slashing strike. Not good, be careful. At the side, an old man shouted to remind him, but it was too late. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the moment Lu Ming rushed out, 9 ice chains flew out from his body. Like 9 bolts of lightning, they arrived first and wrapped around the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man had been knocked back by Lu Ming with a single move. So, he was somewhat stupefied. In a battle between experts, a momentary mistake would be fatal. At this moment, he reacted and wanted to dodge, but it was too late. His body was entangled by the 9 ice chains. Break! The middle-aged man roared, trying to use his divine power to break free from the ice chains. However, Lu Ming's cultivation had improved greatly, and the power of the ice chains had also increased by a large margin. For a moment, he couldn't break free at all. And Lu Ming had already arrived. No, the middle-aged man let out a desperate roar. Then, a crescent-shaped spear light flashed past. The middle-aged man was directly split into 2 halves and died on the spot. In an instant, Lu Ming killed a first-level heavenly god existence. With Lu Ming's current strength, it was enough to kill the Toad King. The middle-aged man's strength was even weaker than the Toad King. Moreover, he had underestimated Lu Ming's strength. After being knocked back by Lu Ming, there was a moment of absent-mindedness. That was why he was killed by Lu Ming's thunderous attack. All of this happened too fast. It was so fast that the other 7 people couldn't even save him in time. This kid, the other 7 people looked at Lu Ming with great shock in their eyes. Lu Ming's speed of improvement was too fast. Now, he could actually kill a heavenly god. If this continued, it was certain that he would catch up or even surpass the other saints. Everyone, this person must not be left alive. Let's attack together. No matter what, we must kill him. At the scene, the only third-level heavenly god old man said with a solemn expression. Although as long as he attacked, he was 100% sure that he could kill Lu Ming, but he still invited the others to attack together. He was afraid that Lu Ming would run away again. Let's attack together. The others nodded and unleashed their divine force of different colors. If you want to join forces to kill me, I'll kill you first. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with murderous intent. With heavy footsteps, he dashed toward the third-level heavenly god old man and threw a punch at him. You're courting death. The old man did not expect Lu Ming to attack him. Although Lu Ming's strength was strong, he was still a lot weaker than him. Charging at him first was no different than courting death. Therefore, he diverted some of his attention and activated a defensive divine skill as a defense. Afterward, a beam of sword gleam burst out from his palm and slashed toward Lu Ming. Zzz, wisps of lightning appeared on Lu Ming's wrist. The reason why Lu Ming was the first to attack the third-level heavenly god was not because he wanted to rely on his own strength, but Qiu Qiu. Wisps of lightning appeared on Qiu Qiu's bracelet. As Lu Ming threw a punch, a bolt of lightning as thick as an arm struck at the old man. Boom! The old man's sword ray was shattered in an instant. The lightning did not stop and struck the old man's body. The old man's defensive divine skill was like a piece of paper, unable to withstand a single blow. The lightning struck the old man's body. The old man screamed in agony and his body was sent flying. He fell tens of thousands of meters away, his body twitching and charred. He was exhaling more than he was inhaling. The old man was on the verge of death in one move. The remaining 6 people were almost scared to death. Qiu Qiu, kill! Lu Ming yelled. With a wave of his hand, Qiu Qiu flew toward a second-level heavenly god. In the process, Qiu Qiu extended 2 tentacles that turned into 2 battle blades and slashed at the old man. The old man was shocked and quickly defended himself. However, a second-level heavenly god could only be abused by Qiu Qiu. The blade light slashed and the old man was killed. Then, Qiu Qiu attacked another second-level heavenly god. Meanwhile, Lu Ming rushed toward a first-level heavenly god. 9 ice chains quickly wrapped around the old man. Break! The old man's battle blade slashed out continuously. In an instant, he had slashed out hundreds of times, trying to break the ice chains. The ice chains raged and sparks flew. However, the ice chain's chilliness flowed through the old man's battle blade and spread throughout his body. It made him feel cold all over, as if he was about to be frozen. Moon slaying. Lu Ming arrived and used moon slaying. This move was even stronger than the one Lu Ming had used before. Because Lu Ming had already quadrupled his battle strength. Chapter 28-22. You want to kill me? Dream on. The other party roared and unleashed his full strength. He slashed out with his saber and clashed with Lu Ming's attack. The other party's body shook violently as he spat out mouthfuls of blood. Roar! A 9-clawed dragon suddenly appeared above Lu Ming's head. It let out a long roar and pounced towards the other party. 9-clawed dragon, son of Saint's divine dragon aspect art. The other party let out a terrified roar. Then, the 9-clawed dragon aspect clawed at his body and tore it apart. The other party had 8 people in total. Now, 4 of them were dead. Only 4 were left. 2 of them were first-layer heavenly gods and 2 were second-layer heavenly gods. Meanwhile, Qiu Qiu had already charged towards the other second-layer heavenly god. Run! The remaining people were scared out of their wits. They had no strength to fight at all. They turned around and ran. As a result, they were no match for Lu Ming's group. Asterisk zap 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 asterisk Qiu Qiu unleashed the lightning again. A bolt of lightning struck and killed a second-layer heavenly god expert. These people were all outer elders or inner deacons of the Kongxian school. They were usually high and mighty, but now, they were dying one after another. Qiuqiu continued to charge towards the last second-layer heavenly god. Meanwhile, Lu Ming charged towards the last two first-layer heavenly gods. The divine dragon aspect roared and pounced towards a first-layer heavenly god elder. Meanwhile, Lu Ming charged towards the other first-layer heavenly god. Lu Ming, we are outer elders of the Kongxian school. You can't kill us. That's right. We are the heroes of the Kongxian school. If you kill us, you will be committing treason, the few old men roared at the same time. You have lived for so long, yet you still dare to say such words. Don't you think it's funny? Lu Ming said coldly. His voice was filled with mockery. Previously, they had wholeheartedly wanted to kill Lu Ming. Now that they were about to be killed, they brought up their identities as outer sect elders of the Kongxian school, hoping that Lu Ming would let them go. Only a fool would let them go. This old man will fight it out with you. An old man roared, knowing that Lu Ming would not let them off. He desperately burned his divine power and charged towards Lu Ming, wanting to perish together with Lu Ming. However, a bolt of lightning struck and the old man's body stiffened in the air, turning him into a pile of charcoal. It turned out that Qiuqiu already finished off the last second-level celestial deity person and returned to help Lu Ming. Like this, there was only one first-level celestial god left. Ah! The old man roared. Knowing that he was dead, he burned his god power and attacked Lu Ming. Qiuqiu, leave this to me. Lu Ming said to Qiuqiu, stopping Qiuqiu from attacking. He could use this person to train himself. Wang. With a shake of his long spear, Lu Ming charged towards this person. This person burned his god power and his strength increased greatly. He might have already surpassed the Toad King. Lu Ming could use him to train himself. 9 ice chains whistled, the 9-clawed dragon roared, and Lu Ming attacked continuously. Even if the other party burned his god power, he was still suppressed by Lu Ming. Both sides fought fiercely. In an instant, they had exchanged dozens of blows. The other party was pushed back by Lu Ming. Burning his god power could not be sustained for long. As the other party's god power was consumed, he was even less of a match for Lu Ming. Monster, monster. The saint offended such a person. If he can't kill him as soon as possible, he will die in his hands sooner or later. Forget it, forget it. At this moment, the old man sighed in his heart. Lu Ming's talent and combat strength had deeply shocked him. He could almost see the great Hong Saint dying in Lu Ming's hands in the near future. After exchanging a few more blows, Lu Ming's spear pierced through the man's body and he died on the spot. At this point, the 8 experts sent by the great Hong Saint and Fuko Seiko to kill Lu Ming were all killed. Including the third-level heavenly god, he had no signs of life at this moment. Lu Ming collected the 8 people's storage rings. 8 heavenly god realm storage rings. This would be a great harvest. After putting it away, Lu Ming left the place in a flash. In the following days, Lu Ming continued to go deeper into the mountain range. He was getting further and further away from the base. The deeper he went, the stronger the demons he encountered. He would encounter heavenly god realm demons from time to time. Under normal circumstances, Lu Ming wouldn't let Qiuqiu fight. He would fight with the demons alone, training himself and collecting heavenly treasures at the same time. Just like that, Lu Ming traveled in the primitive mountain range for half a year. Roar! Roar! Lu Ming and 3 fiendish demons were engaged in a fierce battle in a valley. The 3 demons were all first-layer heaven gods, and each of them possessed shocking strength. They were on par with the Toad King he had encountered before. The 3 of them worked together and attacked with shocking power. Lu Ming used all his means and fought fiercely with the three demons. Ice chains, divine dragon, 3 strikes of destruction, 9 heavens Kuan Peng technique, 9 layers of crimson golden armor. Lu Ming used all his means and fought a few hundred blows with the three demons. Awesome, this is really awesome. The more he fought, the stronger Lu Ming's battle intent. He felt that every cell in his body was jumping. It was exhilarating. After half a year of training, Lu Ming had made great progress in all aspects. Various divine skills such as the 3 strikes of destruction, 9 heavens Kuan Peng technique, and 9 layers of crimson golden armor had all reached the peak of the 5th level. This speed of improvement was extremely shocking. The further one cultivated a divine skill, the harder it was to improve it. It would take a long time, especially since Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 5th level true God realm. Lu Ming was able to cultivate several types of divine techniques to the peak of the 5th level within a short span of half a year. This was all thanks to the continuous fighting and killing. Especially the demons here, they were fierce and cruel and had shocking strength. The effect of training would be better. His comprehension of the battle character formula had improved a little, and the success rate had reached 10%. In the past half a year, Lu Ming had obtained a lot of divine herbs. Most of them were devoured and refined by the measure character formula, and the refined energy was transferred to Lu Ming. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the peak of the 5th level true God realm. He wasn't far from the 6th level true God realm. This speed was no different from riding a rocket. Roar! Roar! Up until now, the three demons had consumed a lot of energy. They were starting to lose their strength and were slowly being suppressed by Lu Ming. The three demons began to retreat. Finally, with a low growl, they actually turned and ran. "You want to leave? Ball, I'll leave it to you." Lu Ming waved his hand and Xiao flew out. It opened its mouth and spat out 3 bolts of lightning, bombarding the 3 fiendish demons and killing them immediately. In the depths of the valley, there was a shining divine herb. It was obviously not an ordinary item. Lu Ming walked over and kept the divine herb, then left. A few days later, Lu Ming was wandering in a forest. Swoosh! Swoosh! Suddenly, a group of people flew over the forest. Chapter 28-23. A group of people flew over Lu Ming's head, releasing a powerful pressure. All of them were in the heavenly god realm. There are so many experts. They're from the invincible Kenzo. Lu Ming's eyes moved. There were middle-aged, old, and even young people in this group. Each of them carried a sword on their back. Looking at their attire, Lu Ming knew that they were from the invincible Kenzo, one of the 3 overlords. These people also noticed Lu Ming. However, they only coldly glanced at Lu Ming before ignoring Lu Ming. They flew in a certain direction as if they had something important to do. Lu Ming did not think too much about it. He continued to wander around the forest, looking for treasures. However, not long after, another group flew over Lu Ming's head. This time, there were fewer people. There were only 4 of them. They're from the Mystic Academy. Looking at their attire, Lu Ming's eyes moved. Wait! The 4 of them had already flown over when an old man suddenly shouted. The 4 of them stopped. That old man looked at Lu Ming. So it's this kid. The first place of the 13 sex assessment, Lu Ming. This kid actually came here. The old man was astonished when he saw Lu Ming. He had seen Lu Ming before. Lu Ming had obtained first place in the 13 sex assessment. He had even invited Lu Ming to join the Mystic Academy. However, he was rejected by Lu Ming. He had a deep impression of Lu Ming. Thus, he recognized Lu Ming with just a glance. "Elder Hong, do you know this kid?" Among the 4, a young man asked. "I've seen this kid before. He obtained first place in the 13 sex assessment. This kid actually came here. Wait, this kid's cultivation has already reached the 5th level of the true God realm. How is this possible? After Old Man Hong scanned Lu Ming's cultivation, his eyes widened in shock. He remembered clearly that when Lu Ming was in the 13 sex assessment, he hadn't even reached empty God realm. He was only a demigod. Now, less than 100 years had passed and Lu Ming actually cultivated to the 5th level true God realm. What kind of cultivation speed was this? Old Man Hong's heart was in turmoil. The previous number 1 of the 13 sex assessment shouldn't have been more than 100 years ago. In less than 100 years, his cultivation had already reached the 5th level of true God realm. Then, how strong was his cultivation at that time? Another person asked. Demigod. Old Man Hong said. Demigod? What? Demigod? The other 3 were completely stunned. Then, their eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He was so talented, but he wasn't a student of the Mystic Academy. He should be eliminated. I'll go kill him. The young man said coldly. He took a step forward and charged towards Lu Ming, pressing his palm down. This young man was also a genius in the Mystic Academy. He was a first-level heavenly god at such a young age. He wasn't any weaker than Lu Feiyun. In his opinion, with his first-level heavenly god cultivation, dealing with a 5th-level true god was a piece of cake for him. You want to kill me? Lu Ming's heart was filled with anger and killing intent. He didn't even say a word, but the other party wanted to kill him. How overbearing. Since that was the case, Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he charged towards the sky. Divine force surged out of his body. Divine Dragon Aspect Art. Lu Ming immediately used his strongest killing move. A 9-clawed dragon appeared. It roared and charged towards the other party. This is, feeling the terrifying aura of the 9-clawed dragon aspect art, the 4 from the Mystic Academy were shocked. Roar! The 9-clawed dragon aspect art roared and charged forward, completely shattering the young man's palm. The dragon claw reached out and grabbed at the young man. The young man never thought that Lu Ming, a 5th-level true god, could unleash such a terrifying attack. It was too late for him to dodge. Kid, stop. Don't you dare. The others roared, wanting to save the young man, but it was already too late. Pooh. The young man was torn apart by the divine dragon aspect art. You're courting death. Upon seeing this, the remaining 3 roared furiously. Their eyes reddened with rage. A first-level heavenly god genius had died just like that. Their hearts were bleeding. The 3 of them charged at Lu Ming furiously, unleashing powerful auras. A first-level heavenly god, a second-level heavenly god, and a third-level heavenly god. Kid, I'm going to grind your bones to dust. The old man with the surname Hong roared. His cultivation was at the 3rd-level heavenly god realm. He unleashed a terrifying murderous intent and charged at Lu Ming. The reason why he wanted to kill Lu Ming was partly because Lu Ming had killed the young man, but more importantly, he was shocked by Lu Ming's strength. Lu Ming's strength was too terrifying. He had to get rid of him. Qiu. Lu Ming waved his hand, sending Qiu flying. Piss off. The old man with the surname Hong did not put Qiu in his eyes. He immediately attacked, trying to send Qiu flying. However, Qiu unleashed a bolt of lightning, penetrating the old man's attack and landing on the old man with the surname Hong. The old man with the surname Hong cried out in agony as he was sent flying, crashing into a few ancient trees. He was already half dead. The other 2 were dumbfounded. Whoosh! With a flicker, Qiu slashed forward. The 2nd-level heavenly god was slain by Qiu, leaving only the 1st-level heavenly god. Don't kill me, don't kill me. That heavenly god stage 1 man almost peed in his pants. He screamed in fear, his body trembling non-stop. At that instant, Lu Ming was like a devil in his eyes. Don't kill you, is that even possible? Lu Ming stepped forward. His icy murderous intent caused the middle-aged man to tremble even more. Don't kill me, as long as you don't kill me, I'll tell you a secret, the secret of a treasure. The middle-aged man yelled. The secret of a treasure? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Seeing that Lu Ming was tempted, the middle-aged burly man saw a chance to survive. He was overjoyed and hurriedly shouted, "That's right. We found a place. There are definitely amazing treasures inside. As long as you let me go, I will tell you the location of that place. You have no right to negotiate with me. Speak, or I'll kill you right now." Lu Ming said coldly. "No, you have to promise not to kill me. Otherwise, I won't tell you. I'm going to die anyway." The middle-aged man clenched his teeth and said, "Oh." Lu Ming rolled his eyes and nodded, "All right, as long as you're telling the truth, I won't kill you." "Really?" The middle-aged man's eyes flickered. "Nonsense, of course it's true. Tell me now, or I'll kill you right now," Lu Ming said coldly. All right, I'll tell you." The man immediately told Qin Nan the location. "I've told you, you can let me go now." The middle-aged man looked at Lu Ming hopefully. "Let you go? Are you going to wait for your reinforcements to come and kill me?" Lu Ming said in a mocking tone. Chapter 28-24. You said you wouldn't kill me." Upon hearing Lu Ming's words, the middle-aged burly man revealed a horrified expression and shouted in horror. "I said I wouldn't kill you myself, but I didn't say I wouldn't let others kill you. Qiu, kill him." Lu Ming waved his hand. "Ah, you'll die a horrible death. You went back on your words." The middle-aged man roared in anger and turned to run. However, he was only a first-layer heavenly god. He was no match for Qiu. Qiu caught up to him and killed him in a few moves. Then, Lu Ming went up and killed Elder Hong. "Treasure," Lu Ming whispered, showing an interested expression. Since he had nothing to do, he might as well take a look. Lu Ming immediately flew to the location the middle-aged man said. However, Lu Ming remained vigilant. He concealed his aura and slowed down as he flew in that direction. At this moment, at a place more than 100,000 li away from Lu Ming, there was a dense forest here, and ancient trees towered into the sky. Strangely, there were no trees in the middle of the forest. Looking from afar, one could see that there were some stone buildings in this area. However, it was too far away to see clearly. At this moment, there was a group of people confronting each other outside the forest. This group of people was divided into 4 groups. If others saw this, they would definitely be shocked. Because these 4 groups of people all had shocking backgrounds. Invincible Kenzo, Mystic Academy, Immeasurable Sacred Ground. The last group of people was from the Ice Soul tribe. There were a few hundred people from each group present. Everyone, this place was first discovered by the Mystic Academy. It should belong to the Mystic Academy. What do you mean by this? A purple-robed young man from the Mystic Academy said coldly. This purple-robed young man was a saint from the Mystic Academy. He was very powerful. Ridiculous. You found it first, so it belongs to you? This is an ownerless item. Anyone who sees it has a share. A young man from the Invincible Kenzo also spoke. This young man was one of the chosen from the Invincible Kenzo. His status and strength were on par with the purple-robed young man from the Mystic Academy. That's right. Since the Mystic Academy hasn't taken it yet, anyone can fight for the treasures inside. A saint from the immeasurable Holy Land also spoke coldly. After he finished speaking, he looked at the central region of the forest with fiery eyes. They could clearly sense that the energy between heaven and earth was constantly converging towards that area. It was as if something was constantly absorbing the essence of the energy between heaven and earth. There were definitely treasures inside. The members of the Ice Soul clan didn't say anything, but their attitude explained everything. The violet-robed youth and the others from the Winged Demon Academy all had unsightly expressions. They knew that it was impossible for the Mystic Academy to monopolize this place. Then what are you going to do? The purple-robed young man said coldly. It's simple. There are terrifying demons living in this forest. It won't be easy to pass through. We'll rely on our own abilities. The treasures will belong to whoever obtains them. Everything will be decided by strength. The chosen from the invincible Kenzo smiled faintly. He was filled with confidence. All right, let's do that. The purple-robed youth from the Winged Demon Academy had no choice but to agree. Who is it? The purple-robed youth from the Winged Demon Academy suddenly shouted coldly. His sharp gaze looked in a certain direction. The other experts also sensed something and looked over. I didn't expect to be discovered so quickly. Lu Ming rubbed his nose in the branches of an ancient tree. He hadn't been here for long. As soon as he arrived, he saw the four sides confronting each other. He wanted to hide in the dark and observe the situation, but he didn't expect to be discovered. The purple-robed youth from the Winged Demon Academy had amazing perception. Since he was discovered, there was nothing to hide. Lu Ming directly flew out. Lu Ming. As soon as Lu Ming flew out, a surprised voice sounded from the Ice Soul race. It was the Ice Soul race's 9th prince, Bing Qing. Brother Bing Qing. Lu Ming smiled. He had already discovered Bing Qing when he was hiding. Brother Lu, I didn't expect to meet you here. Bing Qing smiled. You're Lu Ming from the Kongxian school. Suddenly, a cold gaze looked at Lu Ming. Then, a gloomy voice sounded. Lu Ming looked over and found that the one who spoke was the purple-robed youth from the Mystic Academy. That's right. I'm Lu Ming. Lu Ming replied indifferently. Good, very good. I was just about to look for you, but you delivered yourself to me. My junior brother Lu Shankai died at your hands, right? The purple-robed youth said coldly. Cold murderous intent filled the air. So you're Lu Shankai's senior brother. Lu Shankai was courting death. I've already let him off a few times, but he still tried to sneak up on me. He was just courting death. Lu Ming said indifferently. How dare you? How dare you? A few angry roars sounded. Bam! Bam! Some experts from the Mystic Academy stepped out. Powerful auras burst out and suppressed Lu Ming. You killed my junior brother. Today, I'll destroy your cultivation and feed you to the demons. The purple-robed youth said coldly. He stepped out and was about to kill Lu Ming. Wait! Bing Qing shouted. He moved and landed in front of Lu Ming. Young Master Bing, what are you doing? This has nothing to do with you. Get out of my way. The purple-robed youth said coldly. Who says it has nothing to do with me? Lu Ming is a good friend of the Ice Soul race. If you want to touch him, you'll have to go through the Ice Soul race first. Bing Qing said loudly. As soon as he finished speaking, some experts from the Ice Soul race appeared in front of Lu Ming. A cold aura filled the air. It was as if winter had fallen. The purple-robed youth's face darkened. When the Mystic Academy went to the Ice Soul race to retrieve the Ice Jade Frozen Heart for the Ice Soul race, some of them went back and told him about the Ice Soul race. He knew that Lu Ming had helped the Ice Soul race retrieve the Ice Jade Frozen Heart and gained the Ice Soul race's friendship. It seemed like it was impossible for him to kill Lu Ming today. This kid is Lu Ming. Among the Immortal Swordsmanship sect and the Boundless Saint, some people were also glinting coldly. Strong murderous intent was spreading toward Lu Ming. During the battle in the Ice Soul Race's ancestral land, many of the elites from the Invincible Kenzo and the Boundless Sacred Ground had died at the hands of Lu Ming. However, they didn't step forward now. They hoped that the Mystic Academy and the Ice Soul Race would both suffer losses so that they could benefit from it. Lu Ming, the Ice Soul Race can protect you for now, but they can't protect you forever. Let's wait and see. The purple-robed youth didn't make a move. Instead, he said coldly before turning around and rushing toward the forest. Let's go. The purple-robed youth gave the order. The people from the Mystic Academy followed the purple-robed youth and rushed toward the forest. The people from the Invincible Kenzo and the Boundless Sacred Ground were disappointed. However, since the Mystic Academy didn't make a move, they naturally wouldn't make the first move. The Ice Soul Race's strength was no joke. Let's go. Let's go. The people from the Invincible Kenzo and the Boundless Sacred Ground also flew toward the forest. Chapter 28-25. Brother Lu, there might be treasures in the middle of the forest. Do you want to go with us? Bing Qing smiled. That's what I was thinking. Lu Ming nodded. Let's not waste any time. Let's go. A young man from the Ice Soul clan ordered. He was Bing Qing's elder brother, the third young master of the Ice Soul clan. He was also a peerless genius. Lu Ming immediately followed the experts of the Ice Soul clan and flew toward the forest. When they flew into the sky above the forest, there were sounds coming from the forest below. Then, a black figure shot out and pounced on them. Flying snakes. Those were finger-thick flying snakes with fleshy wings. Their speed was astonishing, and they were like streaks of pitch-black lightning. Be careful. The third young master of the Ice Soul clan warned. He threw out a palm and a cold wave surged. Immediately, dozens of flying snakes were frozen and fell into the forest. The other members of the Ice Soul clan also attacked. Icy Palm Force, Icy Fist Force, and Icy Sword Light slashed at the flying snakes. Flying snakes were constantly shot down. However, there were too many of them and they were very strong. Some of the members of the Ice Soul clan were injured or even killed. Xiao, Lu Ming kept thrusting out with his long spear. Rays of spear light burst out and sent dozens of flying snakes flying. Some of them even exploded. Brother Lu, your strength, Bing Qing was shocked. Lu Ming's strength had greatly exceeded his expectations. When Lu Ming went to get the Ice Jade Cold Heart for them, his cultivation had just broken through to the True God realm. But now, he was already a level 5 True God. I'm lucky. My cultivation has increased a little during this time. Lu Ming said casually. My cultivation has increased a little. Bing Qing's eyelids twitched. Is this a little? He went from level 1 True God to level 5 True God. Is this a little? He also wanted to increase a little. The other members of the Ice Soul clan, including the third young master, were also shocked by Lu Ming's strength. However, in the face of danger, they didn't think too much about it and continued to charge forward. In other directions, the Invincible Kenzo, the Mystic Academy, and the Immeasurable Sacred Ground were also facing attacks from the flying snakes. The deeper they went, the more numerous the flying snakes became. It was as if there were countless flying snakes hidden beneath the forest. They were so densely packed that it made one's scalp tingle. Their speed became slower and slower, and it became more and more strenuous for them. Those below the Heavenly God stage, hide in the middle. Those above the Heavenly God stage, open up a path outside. The Ice Soul Race's third young master roared. He ordered those below the heavenly god realm to hide in the middle, and those above the heavenly god realm to surround the outside. Cold chi surged, and large groups of flying snakes were frozen into popsicles, falling into the forest. 2 hours later, they finally rushed out of the forest and arrived at the central area of the forest. This place was extremely spacious, stretching as far as the eye could see. There was no vegetation, only stone pillars. Every stone pillar was separated by a certain distance, and every stone pillar was at least 100 meters tall. They were scattered randomly on the empty ground. Below the stone pillars were numerous statues. These statues were also made of stone. Some were as tall as a person, while others were more than 10 meters tall. They were lifelike and lifelike. The stone pillars and statues were the only things that could be seen. Also, there was a tree in the depths of the stone pillars and statues. It was an enormous tree that was more than 1,000 meters tall. What surprised them was that the leaves of this tree were extremely strange. They were not green, but black. They were shaped like swords, like pitch-black iron swords. The strangest thing was the tree's fruit. There was only one fruit on the entire tree, and it was a stone fruit. Yes, it looked like it was carved out of stone. It hung on the crown of the tree, and it was the size of a wash basin. It was covered with strange patterns. The energy between the heavens and the earth continued to gather before finally converging on the fruit. The destination of the energy was the fruit. A treasure. Everyone's eyes lit up. Although no one knew exactly what that fruit was, they all knew that it was definitely a treasure. It's mine. The purple-robed young man from the Mystic Academy's eyes flashed. He led the people from the Mystic Academy toward the tree. Don't even think about it. The people from the invincible Kenzo, the immeasurable sacred ground, and the Ice Soul tribe also rushed toward the tree. Crack! Just as they rushed forward, the statues that were originally motionless suddenly moved. Dong! Dong! The statues took a step forward, and their heavy bodies caused the ground to tremble. Then, they charged toward the crowd. The purple-robed young man from the Mystic Academy was the first to be attacked. A 10-meter-tall statue held a stone sword and slashed at him. The purple-robed young man's eyes narrowed, and he shouted, "Get lost." Then, the purple-robed young man slashed out with a demonic saber. Clang! The purple-robed young man's demonic saber collided with the statue's stone sword, and there was a terrifying explosion. It formed a terrifying sound wave that spread out. At the moment of collision, the purple-robed young man's face changed drastically. His body felt as if it had been hit by a divine mountain, and he was forced to retreat. At this moment, even more statues arrived. Pft! Pft! Ah! Ah! Blood splattered everywhere, and there were continuous screams. In the blink of an eye, dozens of people from the Mystic Academy were killed by the statues. Not only the Mystic Academy, but people from the invincible Kenzo, the immeasurable sacred ground, and the Ice Soul tribe were also killed by the statues. The strength of these statues was shocking. Moreover, the taller the statue, the stronger its strength. Dong! Dong! These statues seemed to have springs under their feet. They jumped hundreds of meters into the air and brandished different kinds of stone weapons as they charged toward the crowd. Lu Ming was also facing a powerful enemy. An 8-meter-tall statue wielding a stone sword charged toward Lu Ming. The stone sword slashed and the space whistled. The terrifying force was so oppressive that Lu Ming found it difficult to breathe. Moon slashing. Lu Ming struck out with his spear and executed the Armageddon triple strike. Clang! The statue's stone sword struck the spear, causing the spear to vibrate non-stop. Lu Ming's body was forced back, and he felt his arm go numb as if it was about to split open. Swoosh! After the stone sword repelled Lu Ming, it charged toward Lu Ming again. Not only that, on the other side, an 8-meter-tall statue also charged toward Lu Ming. With a pincer attack, Lu Ming was in danger. Qiuqiu, Lu Ming waved his hand, and Qiuqiu flew out. Its body was covered in lightning, and a thunderbolt blasted out, bombarding the statue. However, to Lu Ming's surprise, the statue seemed to be unaffected by the lightning. It didn't slow down and continued to charge toward Lu Ming. It's useless. Lu Ming's heart trembled. Seeing that the lightning was useless, Qiuqiu could only use its round body to collide with the statue. Chapter 28-26. At this moment, the experts of the four forces were completely at a disadvantage. They were surrounded by a large group of statues and were constantly being killed. Not to mention those below the heavenly god realm, even the saints were in danger. The purple-robed youth and the third young master of the Ice Spirit clan were surrounded by several statues that were more than 10 meters tall. If Bing Qing was not protected by the experts of the Ice Spirit clan, she would most likely be in danger. Lu Ming, you have walked into a large formation. These statues move according to the formation. Anyone who enters the formation will be killed. Bone Demon's voice sounded in Yifutian's mind. How do we break the formation? Lu Ming quickly asked. It's very simple, super simple. Do you see those stone pillars? You just have to jump onto the stone pillars and walk on them. Bone Demon said. It's that simple? Lu Ming was stunned. Nonsense, it's that simple. You're just stupid and didn't realize it. Bone Demon said disdainfully. Lu Ming was speechless. Let's try it. Lu Ming had an idea and let Qiuqiu return to his side. He then struck with his spear with all his strength and collided with a statue. Borrowing the force, he quickly retreated. Then, he stomped on the ground and soared into the sky, landing on a statue. When Lu Ming landed on the statue, the statues that were chasing Lu Ming seemed to have lost track of him. They looked around suspiciously and then attacked the others. It worked. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Brother Bing, quickly get on the stone pillars. The statues won't attack the people on the pillars. Lu Ming quickly sent a message to Bing Qing and the others. Bing Qing and the others' eyes lit up when they heard it. They then used all their strength to fight the statues and rushed up the stone pillars. When they rushed up the stone pillars, the statues did not attack them. Bing Qing and the others were overjoyed. Third brother, everyone, quickly get on the stone pillars. Bing Qing shouted and notified the third young master of the Ice Spirit clan. Rush up the stone pillars. After the Ice Soul clan's third young master repelled a statue with a palm strike, his figure flashed, and he also rushed up to a stone pillar. The other members of the Ice Soul clan also used their own methods to rush up to the stone pillars. Of course, there were also many who were killed by the statues in the process of charging. Originally, the Ice Soul clan had around 300 people, but in just a short while, more than 100 of them had been killed. It was a disastrous loss. Stone pillars. Charge up the stone pillars. The members of the Mystic Academy, Invincible Kenzo, and Boundless Sacred Ground also came to a realization when they saw this scene. They all rushed toward the stone pillars. After paying a price, the people of the three major forces also rushed up to different stone pillars. Then, everyone leaped onto the stone pillars and rushed towards the big tree in front of them. Boom! Just as Lu Ming leaped onto a stone pillar, a sharp blade light slashed at the stone pillar beneath his feet. Boom! The stone pillar crumbled into pieces. This guy, Lu Ming, looked around and realized that the person who had shattered the stone pillar beneath his feet was the purple-robed young man from the Mystic Academy. Go to hell! The purple-robed young man sneered. As soon as the stone pillar crumbled, the statues immediately sensed Lu Ming's presence. Dong! Dong! Immediately, several 10-meter-tall statues leaped up and attacked Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. Divine Dragon Aspect Technique. Lu Ming immediately used the Divine Dragon Aspect Technique. A 9-clawed dragon aspect flew out and rushed toward one of the statues. At the same time, 9 ice chains also flew out. Then, the 9 layers of crimson gold armor also activated. In an instant, Lu Ming used all his means, including Qiuqiu, to turn into a shield in front of him. However, the strength of these 10-meter-tall statues was too shocking. The divine dragon Dharma idol trembled and was directly shattered by a stone sword. The 9 ice chains also collapsed. Boom! Lu Ming was hit by several attacks in succession. His body smashed into the ground like a cannonball, creating a loud boom. Lu Ming felt that his body was about to split open. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Lu Ming was already injured just now. However, the most fatal thing was that Lu Ming was the only one under the stone pillar. The number of statues was astonishing. At this moment, these statues rushed toward Lu Ming, trying to drown him. Brother Lu, Bing Qing was shocked. However, even if they wanted to help, there was nothing they could do. Ha ha ha, you want to fight me? Go to hell. The purple-robed young man laughed maniacally. On the other hand, the invincible Kenzo and the people of the immeasurable sacred ground were indifferent. They all hoped that Lu Ming would die in the hands of the statues. What should we do? At this moment, Lu Ming was in a desperate situation. There were statues rushing toward him from all directions. With so many statues, he would be reduced to ashes in one move. Dong! Dong! At this moment, Lu Ming's heart was beating rapidly. A mysterious aura spread out. The aura of the ancient god. Lu Ming's heart was the heart of the ancient god. At this moment, it was emitting a mysterious aura. When this aura spread out, the bodies of the statues froze. A few of the terrifying statues' attacks were about to hit Lu Ming, but at this moment, their movements couldn't help but stop. Good chance. How could Lu Ming miss such a rare opportunity? He became one with his spear, turning into a dazzling spear light. He jumped out of the way of a statue and rushed to the nearest stone pillar, dodging the attack. Damn it, what's going on? Why are those statues' movements so stiff? Seeing this scene, the purple-robed young man roared in his heart. His eyes flickered with ferocious killing intent. The others were also stunned. They didn't know what was going on. Just a moment ago, they thought that Lu Ming was dead for sure. Not to mention Lu Ming, any other chosen would also die in such a situation. However, the statue's movements suddenly froze, giving Lu Ming an opportunity to escape. The heart of the ancient god. My heart of the ancient god has an effect on these statues, Lu Ming's mind raced. Not only that, Lu Ming even had a feeling that if he activated the heart of the ancient god, he could even control these statues. This world's bronze gate appeared in the sacred ground of the descendants of the ancient god. This world might be closely related to the descendants of the ancient god. That's why the heart of the ancient god can affect these statues. Lu Ming's mind was constantly thinking. His eyes lit up slightly. This guy, I will definitely take revenge for this. Lu Ming's cold eyes looked at the purple-robed young man. If it wasn't for the heart of the ancient god, he would already be dead. The purple-robed young man would already be on his kill list. Humph, Lu Ming, count yourself lucky. I hope you can be so lucky next time. The purple-robed young man snorted coldly, then turned and rushed towards the tree. Lu Ming sneered and also rushed towards the tree. At this moment, the fastest group of people had already rushed past the area of the stone pillars and directly rushed towards the fruit at the top of the tree. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.